3 inglorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my superhydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
If you see a student being bullied, be supportive. Ask if they're okay and invite them to join you. You'll be an ally and you can make a friend. Friendship! Visit StopBullyingSpeakUp.com and join Cartoon Network to redraw your world without bullying.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
Get in the hole!
That's RitchieLaw.com. WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show.
Just a wedge. Takes dead aim. Lands it short of the flagstick. Right up next to it. Spins it to a stop. 6 feet away. Scotty Scheffler has 6 feet for par to win the PGA Championship by a lot.
One last look at the hole for Scheffler. The putter is back and through on its way. He's missed it, but that's okay. He'll go around the hole, collect himself. The king of golf conquers the Queen City at Quail Hollow. Scotty Scheffler is a PGA champion.
It's the Adam Gold Show. How are you? That was our old friend Taylor Zarzer on PGA Tour Radio, or PGA Championship Radio, as they bill it for the majors. I hear Scotty Scheffler won.
What else is new?
Third major for him. He didn't win by, he didn't shoot 31 under like he did in his last outing, which is a crazy number. Anyway, he was awesome. Congratulations to him. We will talk about it at least a little bit today. The world number one just sort of emphasized that he is the best player in the world. I don't know how many people watched it. He spent a good chunk of yesterday trying to not win.
Yeah.
I mean,
but luckily for him, Jon Rahm and Bryson did not help their case.
I'll tell you when Bryson DeChambeau law. We'll get into this more later. Bryson DeChambeau needs to remember. I get you used to playing 54 holes, right? He needs to remember that it's a 72-hole event, and I'll explain what I mean by that later. Jon Rahm, he was right there. He was absolutely right there, and I don't know if the fact that he all of a sudden found himself tied kind of scared him into being the Jon Rahm we've seen for like the last 2.5 years, but he was right there, had a great opportunity, and just could not get it across. But Scotty Scheffler, I believe, won the PGA on Saturday, not yesterday. Won it on Saturday. We'll again get into that later, and I'll explain what I mean by that. But he did. He spent the first 9 holes trying to not win, trying to make everybody in it. And for a few minutes, it looked like there were a lot of people that were going to be able to at least apply some pressure. And then nobody did. Oh, is somebody at the door?
Come on in. I don't know what that was.
All right, real quick before we start the show. So, I make no bones of the fact that I basically tell you what's going on in my world, my personal world, for the with some obvious reservations. But so coming up this weekend, Graham, we're headed towards Memorial Day weekend. So my son is playing in a soccer event in Potomac, Maryland, and we're going to be up there Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Maybe not Monday, depends on how they do Saturday, Sunday. And I'm sitting here going, wait a second. If Toronto wins, I'm going to have to be up there but here, because games 3 and 4 of this series are Saturday, Monday. It's now Canes in Florida, But if it were Carolina and Toronto, it would have been Saturday, Monday here, Tuesday, Thursday in Toronto. If Florida wins, then Carolina hosts the first 2 games, and they're on the road Saturday and Monday. So on Thursday, was it Thursday night? No, so Friday night, I'm thinking, all right, Florida, you got Game 6 on your ice with a 3-2 lead, playing against the team that had just turtled in Game 5 on their ice. Just sweep the leg.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here. So I don't have to, agonize over what am I possibly going to do. There was a lot of driving in my future. I don't know what I was worried about. Toronto playing at home is a surefire loss in a Game 7. Do you see what their record is? Toronto in elimination games, series in which they face elimination in the salary cap era.
Was it? Oh, geez.
2-14.
Sheesh.
2-14 when they face elimination. Or is it? Actually, yesterday was also a closeout game. And maybe that was part of the equation as well. Carolina, by the way, in the same situations are 15-10.
I saw the stat today where they're 0-12 in conference finals games dating back to 2009.
Yeah, they got swept by Pittsburgh in 2009, swept by Boston in 2019, and swept by Florida in 2023. But
that doesn't matter.
I remember what Rod Brindamore said after that series, and he was kind of ridiculed for it. It wasn't a sweep. Wasn't a sweep. I know what he was saying, and I'll get into it here, but it was unfortunately a sweep. I totally get what he's saying, and I will shed some light on that. Now is as good a time as any to start, right?
Speaking of the conference final, I've realized that it wasn't a ghost that was knocking on our door. It was our very own video producer. Look at that. Fresh new graphic, just like that.
Oh, really?
We're
Did
ready.
that come up just during the whole thing?
Yeah, that's what that...
Put it up.
Well, we can do it. We can do it right now.
All right. I'm here for a new graphic. Look, it's not along the lines of Colorado, Detroit from the mid-'90s, right? But we are getting a Canes Panthers 2. 2 years ago, Carolina also home ice advantage. I think they were the second best team in the East that year behind Boston. Boston had a record-setting season. The funny thing about that is that Boston had Florida 3-1 in Boston in Game 5 and a 1-goal lead late. Florida scored with an extra attacker to force overtime, won in overtime, won Game 6, won Game 7. So Florida could have easily been eliminated from the playoffs that year, and they ended up going to the Stanley Cup Finals. That was a team that won the President's Trophy the year prior. So it wasn't like Florida came out of nowhere. Coaching change, Paul Maurice took over that team, and it took them about, I would say, February before they really started to dial into the way Maurice coached them as opposed to the way like Andrew Burnett. And actually the season began, I believe, with Joel Quenneville coaching them that year. Anyway, moving on. Some quick thoughts about that series in 2023. There were 4 one-goal games. The first game had 4 overtimes. The second game had just 1 overtime. Then it was a 1-0 win in Game 3 in Florida, and then a 4-3 clincher with Matthew Tkachuk scoring a power play goal with 5 seconds left. It was an incredibly close blowout. When you get swept 4 in a row, you got swept for a reason, my opinion. But that doesn't mean that Carolina couldn't have won every one of those games. And in Game 1, I remember this distinctly because of the vantage point that we had where I was sitting, I was actually closer towards one of the ends of the rink, and I was watching Seth Jarvis with the puck on his stick in the dead slot with Sergei Bobrovsky down and out. There was 3/4 of the net to shoot at, and Jarvis put it off the crossbar. That was the first overtime. Carolina wins that game. We have no clue what happens next. None. But in my opinion, Florida was the better team. And there's nothing criminal about that. Florida was the better team. So we should not be sitting here going, oh man, anybody could have won that series. Well, we don't know because Florida's best players outplayed Carolina's best players. Think about this. Here's the difference 3 years ago. Matthew Tkachuk scored in every game. Sasha Barkov had 2 goals. Carter Verhaeghe and Sam Reinhart each scored once. Florida only scored 10 goals in the 4 games. Wasn't like they were blowing Carolina out, right? And remember, they had 4 in the last one. So they had, I think it was 3, 2, 1 in the first 3 games. But 8 of the 10 goals were scored by their goal scorers. 8 of the 10. Carolina, who only scored 6 goals in the series, had a combined 2 from this group. Sebastian Aho, Seth Jarvis, Teuvo Teravainen, Martin Necas, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Andrei Svechnikov. They combined for just 2 goals. I brought Svechnikov into play here because I don't think it should be lost on everybody that Andrei didn't play in that series. He was out with the torn ACL. So when we go back, and because I was listening to 32 Thoughts, the podcast today, and Kyle Bukowskis, who is now the co-host with Elliot Friedman, talking about Svechnikov didn't have a very good series. You're right. He didn't have a very anything series.
He wasn't on the ice.
He wasn't playing. So now I'm not saying Carolina is in a better position now than Florida is, but these 2 teams played 4 super even games, and Florida just happened to win all of them. Here's Rod Brindamore on how that might help this.
Well, you hope it's any time you do have those type of results, like it's experience, you learn from it, whether it's a good experience, bad experience, however you want to look at all that. I think you learn from stuff, and I know this group has, and you hope that whatever lessons you've learned from that make you that much better this time around.
I can tell you this. If the Hurricanes don't get a goal from Sebastian Aho in the series, they're not winning it. Just no chance. Aho has to be a goal scorer. They beat Washington without him scoring goals. Not without him. He played well, but he didn't score any goals. They beat Washington, but Washington and Florida, I don't care that Washington scored significantly more points than the Panthers. Panthers only had 97 points. That's why Carolina with 99 has home ice advantage. So Washington beat them by 14 during the regular season. Florida is so much better than the Capitals. So much better. So they're going to need Aho to be really good in the series. He's not the only one. They need Jarvis to score. They're going to need Andrei to do what he has been doing. All right, now, Brindamore was asked about the motivation for another Eastern Conference final appearance.
Well, every year is a great opportunity for that, and we all understand how hard it is. I don't know that necessarily everyone out there does, but to get to this point is extremely hard to do, and I think we all appreciate that. But we also, like you said, you got to take advantage of that opportunity because you don't know when they're coming around, and I think there's a sense of urgency there on that. Not that there wasn't before, because I think there always has been here, but. You just got to keep knocking on that door.
I mean, it is kind of, in some ways, it's like sales, man. It's like a numbers game. Carolina's good enough to have been here. By the way, I did hear a narrative that I love that I think is false, like the people saying that Carolina has been a playoff disappointment. What are we doing? How can the Hurricanes have been a playoff disappointment in the last 6 years, because this year's not over yet? If they lose this series, are they a playoff disappointment? I don't get it. They've never been the best team in the league, ever. They have, in some ways, exceeded their expectations in terms of points during the regular season. And you get to the playoffs, and just like the NCAA tournament in basketball, at some point it becomes who's got the best players. Carolina's got great depth, but when was the last time Carolina had the best players? And honestly, the answer is they haven't, ever. That doesn't mean they're not really good. They didn't have the best players in 19 against Boston. They didn't have the best players in 20 when they lost the second-round series again to Boston in the bubble. They didn't have the better players against Tampa. They had a better record than Tampa. They didn't have the better players against Tampa, not to mention Andrei Vasilevsky. Didn't have the better players in 22. That would be the one that was probably the disappointment, because you lost Game 7 on home ice. But that Rangers team was pretty damn good with a better goalie, right? You had Igor Shesterkin, lethal power play, which torched Carolina, right? That would be the 1 year that we go, okay, that was a disappointment. 23, I don't understand why that was a disappointment. Florida had a better team. It just took them a while that year to get going. And they did qualify as a wild card, but you saw what they did against Boston. 24, were they a disappointment? They have a home ice advantage. And they lost the series to the Rangers, but,
they crawled back from a 3-0 deficit.
But theoretically, with the Rangers having home ice advantage, you would have said the Rangers were the favorite in the series anyway. So the narrative, I'm tired of these stupid, lazy narratives. They have not been a playoff disappointment. If anything, they've been pretty good in the playoffs. Kicking the bubble hockey out, which it's hard to really put anything on it. I'm not taking anything away from Tampa's title. But Carolina won the qualifying round, which, depending on who you talk to, is a playoff series or not. Take away that. The Hurricanes have advanced in every playoff. Every one. No other team can say that. 0 teams can say that. Have they won it? No. But again, I think we've just kind of demonstrated that they haven't had the best players. They've got a lot of good players. So does Florida. Florida is, I believe, a slight favorite in the series. It won't be a disappointment. I know Carolina's got home ice. It won't be a disappointment. Well, we'll be disappointed. They will not be a disappointment.
And whether they get swept or not, there are plenty of other teams in the NHL that would kill for an opportunity to make their conference finals 3 of the last 7 seasons.
It's ridiculous. It's insane that it's in any way framed as they have been a playoff disappointment. That is stupid. Just stupid. And smarter people who would otherwise be considered smart are saying it. It is dumb to think that they are not, that they have been in some ways a playoff disappointment. All right. What's different about these two teams? I think Carolina's got better depth than they had then. Again, no Andrei Svechnikov. People forget that year the Hurricanes had Max Pacioretty. They signed him in the offseason. Tore his Achilles in July. Didn't play again until January. Tore his Achilles 5 games later. Done. They never replaced Max Pacioretty's goal scoring. Even though they had all the long-term injured reserve money that they could have used, they never went out and replaced that. And then, a couple of days after the trade deadline was over, Andrei Svechnikov tore his ACL. So you're down 2 goal scorers. Made the conference finals, something good about that, but only scored 6 goals against the Panthers. There's something bad about that. Anyway, what's different about the Panthers? I think that in some ways they're better. But I think, how about this for being better, even though Sam Reinhart didn't score 60 goals this year like they did last year? I think the fact that they're playing a third year in the same system automatically makes them better. Matthew Tkachuk clearly is not healthy. He did not score a goal in the 7-game series against the Maple Leafs. And last night, he looked particularly anemic. I'm not saying it's going to be that way during this season. You never know if he starts feeling a little bit better, or it just works for him. But he did not look the same. Florida legitimately beat Toronto with their depth. The goal scorers from Game 5 and even the goal scorers from yesterday, I'm like, wait a second, where's all the goal scorers? Yep, Florida beat Toronto like a drum with their depth. So I look forward to a great series. We'll get into it a little bit deeper as we go on. Erik Cole is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Let me get to a couple of other things. One, by the way, Stars beat the Jets on the other side. They won in overtime in Game 6. So they and Edmonton will start on Wednesday. So the NBA Conference Finals are set. Thunder rolled in Game 7. Gosh, it was like such a blowout. Did any Game 7s have any drama?
Well, the Thunder had to come back. I mean, they were down at one point, but once they got going, I mean,
yeah,
they were in complete control. Yeah.
But it's just not much. Anyway, and they will play the Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals. Thunder are huge favorites there. They are actually less of a favorite to win Game 1 than they are to win the whole series, which is odd to me. And it'll be the Knicks and the Pacers. How about that? I said this earlier, like last week. I just want Reggie Miller to be on the call for this entire series. And I want Spike Lee to be sitting right behind Reggie. And I want Reggie to turn around and do commentary as the Pacers are beating the Knicks. I want Reggie to give his commentary directly to Spike Lee. I want that. I'm here for all of that. Do you remember last week? Was it me on Friday that said
you would drive up to New York to listen to Sports Talk Radio if the Knicks won?
No. When the Knicks lost Game 6 at home and then lost in Game 7 to Boston, I said I would do that. I would drive up to listen to WFAN, even though you could just stream it. I said that for a fact. Did you see the score of that game at one point?
Jeez. Reminded me of the State Carolina basketball game from this past year.
The Knicks at one point led like 92-55. It was a total blowout. I had no idea the Knicks had that. If you were going to do that, why didn't you play better in Game 5? Why did you completely lay an egg in Game 5? Why did you run the risk of not playing well in Game 6? You should have just gotten that over with. So after the game, Paul Pierce, I don't even know what show he was on. Doesn't really matter.
He was on his own personal Instagram account.
Oh, was he?
He just went live on his back porch.
Paul Pierce calling out the Knicks for beating a hobbled Celtics.
You know, whatever y'all did, New York is Pacers gonna pop y'all though. Y'all know that, right? Y'all know that the Pacers is gonna get y'all. So I don't even want to hear all that. Like, yeah, y'all feeling good. Y'all beat an injured Celtics team. Y'all beat an injured Celtics team, bro. We didn't have our All-NBA player, first team MVP candidate who led us in all these categories. So, whatever.
Before I bring Patrick Ewing with a response on former Syracuse star Etan Thomas's podcast, I would point out to Paul that Jason Tatum, the star to which you were referring, played in the first 4 games in which the Knicks took a 3-1 series lead. I just think it's probably fair to just explain the facts to you. And now here is Patrick Ewing.
I'm glad I didn't see it. I'm glad I didn't see it. Paul was a great player. It was a great Celtics. I played against them towards the end of my career. I'm glad for his success. But, the Knicks were also depleted last year when they played Indiana. So you can't keep a cry over sour grapes. we were at full strength this time.
Like, I think the Pacers can and maybe will beat the Knicks. I think the Knicks are, unfortunately, at times a little one-dimensional. But it should be a good series. I hope it's as good as those Knicks-Pacers series from the 90s that Ewing played in and Reggie Miller played in. I think it'll be great to watch those two teams go at it. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm a big Tyrese Halliburton fan, and he was a star in their series win over Cleveland. And I love Jalen Brunson. Absolutely love Jalen Brunson. I've always been a Josh Hart fan, so should be a fun series in the NBA. Both series should be good because I think Minnesota is going to give Oklahoma City a tough time. I really do. All right, when we come back, Erik Cole, former Hurricane, Canes legend, Stanley Cup champion, on the wait and the mission to beat the Panthers. Next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Let's go! It's the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Aho now to Jarvis. Jarvis, you'll get the Giants goal!
Let's go, Canes!
Kochetkov, stop! It's on the goal line behind him! He does a snow angel in the paint!
Go, Canes!
Playoff hockey in Raleigh is something that you can't describe, and it's because of you. So we want to be here.
The Canes' road to the Stanley Cup runs through us. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
I have a scenario for you. You and the fellas were going to play golf, but life got in the way. Yard work. Maybe the kids had a game. Adam Gold here for X Golf in Cary, and here's what you need to do. Get a bunch of couples together. If you're into golf, experience the best simulator play you've ever seen. And if you're not, just hang out, watch the game, relax with a cold adult beverage, some great food as well. Way more than golf. It's fun. McGregor Village, off of US 64. PlayXGolf.com/Cary.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell, founder of Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is complicated, especially when your small business or professional practice is involved. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand that these assets raise unique valuation and allocation issues. For 35 years, we've helped doctors, lawyers, and small business owners navigate divorce with confidence. Call us at Cordell & Cordell. Let me tell you, I understand on a personal level, your business is much more than a job. It's your legacy.
Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
Support for The Fan comes from Paramount Pictures presenting Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Every choice, every mission has led to this. Tom Cruise is back as Ethan Hunt in his most challenging mission yet. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, only in theaters and IMAX on May 23rd. Listen afternoons during The Drive with Tim Donnelly this week to win a Fandango gift card to witness the action and adventure on the biggest screen possible. Don't miss your chance to see the movie of the summer.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
A few contest rules from sports radio stations The Fan, The Buzz. No purchase necessary, 21 to enter and play. Limited to 1 entry per person and 1 prize winner per family or household per contest every 30 days. Employees of Capital Broadcasting, its agencies, sponsors, subsidiaries, other broadcast companies, and immediate families of the above are ineligible to play. Winners are verified, complete documentation, and are responsible for all taxes and prizes received. All prizes are non-transferable and cannot be redeemed for cash. Winners give sports radio the right to publicize his or her name, likeness, or voice. Sports may change contest rules and prizes at any time and holds no liability for canceled or postponed events. Complete info of sports radio contests available at WRALSportsFan.com. or during normal business hours at 3100 Highwoods Boulevard in Raleigh.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
This is Adam Gold.
While I'm watching Colombia, Uruguay, not only the end of that match, but the fight in the stands after it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Heard it got spicy.
That was the most excited fans we have seen in 5 years at Bank of America Stadium. Man, look at all the happy people at Bank of America.
Just took the other kind of football.
Yeah, there you go. More of that.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Graham Hill sitting in for Victoria. I don't believe I introduced you to the world. We're on YouTube. Just search Adam Gold Show or 99.9 The Fan, either way. And we're on YouTube with the Canes Corner podcast after every Hurricanes playoff game. About 45 minutes after the final horn, we do the post-game show, and then we jump on the YouTubes for an in-depth discussion, or as much as I can pull off of something like that, which is why I call Erik Cole to help us talk about Canes Panthers Part 2, Stanley Cup champion. Mr. Cole, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Hurricanes last played Thursday. We'll get into that game and maybe some good things we can take out of it in a bit, but having 4 days off, is that the right amount of time, or is it too much considering Florida played last night?
It goes either way, really, where, some teams and some players, might value the rest, or you have, a few bumps and bruises that you would like to, give a little extra day off here or there. But at the same time, you're in that groove, and, it's just a rinse and repeat day in, day out, where, you're playing every other day, and, the routine is so, I don't want to say strict, but you're doing the same things just nonstop. It's the same food, that just everything is like clockwork. So, while it possibly could, make a difference, I think with Florida, they were at home for a loss in Game 6, had to travel to Toronto for Game 7. Now they either probably flew in last night or flying in today. So, it's not necessarily the most ideal setup for them either. But, I think that, these two teams, know each other very well. They're very similar. They kind of play the same way, and they both have the same amount of depth, throughout their lineup. So it should make for a great series.
Erik Cole is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I see. That's what I was going to get at, is that it's funny how the Hurricanes were called boring, but I do see a lot of similarities in the way they play between the Panthers and the Hurricanes. Even like the Hurricanes and the Capitals play in many ways a similar way. What can you spot little differences between what Florida does and what Carolina does?
It's not. I think if anything, Florida can sometimes play a little heavier than the Hurricanes. But in the Washington series, Carolina, played a little heavy when they had to, and there was some really momentum, physical plays that went on. With Ovechkin getting hit and Wilson getting hit.
Yeah.
It was great to see, from the Hurricanes standpoint. But they both forecheck really hard. I think that if there's one thing that Carolina does, better than Florida would be their back pressure and just kind of the relentless puck pursuit. Not just up the ice, but on the way back as well. I feel like, Carolina probably creates more from those types of turnovers. The power plays are, I think, pretty even here in the playoffs. Obviously, Carolina's penalty kill's been good all year and has been, good during the playoffs, and that's going to have to continue.
Right.
That's going to be really, really big element to this series, especially with, the firepower that Florida has on a couple of those units, where there's guys, Reinhardt scored, over 50 last year or right on 50 or something like that.
Yeah,
so
almost 60, I think, right.
Yeah. They've got some dangerous players out there, but and then of course it's always, who gets better goaltending, and you look at, the conference final 2 years ago, and just how heartbreaking that was.
Yeah.
With the overtime losses and everything. It's a very, very small margin of error, and I think it's going to be a heck of a series.
Erik Cole is joining us here. Does that series in 23 matter in any tangible way?
Only in the mind of the Hurricanes that they lost and Florida won, and I think they'll be better prepared for the moment and what to expect. Being at that stage of the playoff run, and I think the group's a little bit more complete than they were a couple years ago. I think just top to bottom, when you look through the roster, they've got a bit of everything on the roster that can have a really great run in the playoffs and have playoff success.
Erik Cole is joining us here as we get ready for the Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers Game 1 coming up at Lenovo Center. Does Game 1 carry extra importance because you're at home and Florida might have, at least in their minds, some mental edge?
I don't think that Florida should be coming in here with any kind of mental edge, and I think that the Hurricanes do need to recognize that it is very important to get that first one under your belt. You don't want there to ever be a possibility that you go down 0-2 to start a series at home. So I would put a lot of emphasis on Game 1. I would expect the building to just be as electric as it's been, and for the Caniacs to be out in full force. So, but I would expect for the Hurricanes to be able to go out and play really well in Game 1. And it's just like it was in previous series here this spring. You got to do the same things over and over again and just play the game the way that you know how, and within your systems, and just shift after shift, and you just wear on them. And I think that the Hurricanes have done that through the first 2 rounds. That's how they've been able to close out both series, and I think that they're going to need to do that again here against Florida, and it's going to be the toughest task.
Erik Cole is joining us here. Here's there's so many factors in this series that are different from or need to be different from 2023. In 23, Sebastian Aho did not score a goal in those 4 games. He had 2 assists, but did not score a goal. Andrei Svechnikov didn't play a minute. He was out with the torn ACL. In that series, Martin Necas also didn't score. Teuvo Teravainen was just coming back from an injury, and he really wasn't 100%. And he got 1 goal in Game 4, I believe, but the Hurricane, I mean, he really wasn't the same player. It was Seth Jarvis's second year in the NHL. Is there anything to take away from that and say we could have been so much better then that maybe the series could have tipped?
No, I don't think they need to look at it. I don't think anyone's really talking about it like that. I mean, in terms of, for the players, you just know that they won and you lost. Plain and simple. They've been to the finals 2 years in a row. They've seen it. They've accomplished it, right? So, for the Hurricanes, it's not, well, we were missing this guy last time. No, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the roster was then. Like I said before, I think they're a more complete roster now than they were a couple years ago, and I think that shows. I think that when you look through the Hurricanes, particularly the forward group, I think that there's a lot more of just every bit that you need to be successful in the playoffs. And I think that they've shown that through the first two rounds, and I think they showed that level of grit and toughness against Washington. And I think that they need to recognize that, this team that they're going up against, two long spring runs into the playoffs, into the Stanley Cup finals, winning it last year. They had a pretty good battle with Tampa Bay to open up, but then they just went seven games with Toronto. Like, let's get after them, and just we're the fresher team. Like, let's get to it right away, get to our game right away, and just be relentless.
All right, final question for you. And you and I talked a couple of times ago about getting Andrei Svechnikov playing the way Andrei is capable of playing. So just from your perspective, what have you seen from him? Obviously, we have 8 goals. So that's great. That's great. He didn't score any in the 23 playoffs. So what have you seen from him that maybe has led to this?
See, everyone will look at the goals and say, okay, great. He's scoring, but it's what he's doing. It's the process. Like, it's what he's doing, shift in and shift out, is the reason that he's having the success on the score sheet, right? And I mean, he's a wonderful player. He can play the game, up and down with a lot of speed and skill, but he can also play the game physically and a little bit more hard-nosed. When you and I have referenced talking about him, and what we want more of is a little bit more of the hard nose. I mean, he's a big, strong kid, and I feel like he's definitely, he's done a great job this playoff run of being a little bit more direct. When there's opportunities for a high-end play, in terms of high-end skill, I mean, it'll be obvious to him, and he can make that. He'll recognize it. But it's been good to see that he's been just a lot more direct with his game and a lot more in your face.
Yeah, and there's a reason why Jacob Markstrom swung his stick at Andrei and hit his own guy, Cody Glass. There's a reason why he was annoying the Washington Capitals. He has a way of doing things to get under your skin, and that's what you need in the playoffs. Erik Cole, Stanley Cup champion, my friend, I appreciate your time. I will see you very soon.
Sounds good, bud.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thanks, man. Erik Cole here on the Adam Gold Show. Love to see Cole on the siren coming up. We had Sean Hill wound the siren last time in the series against Washington. Like to see Erik take a wind at it. All right, we're going to come back. I'll tell you one more thing about the series that I think is important to realize, and we will do one-timers next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, you're more than a policy, you're family. With offices in every county, we're close by when it matters most. Our local agents customize coverage to fit your life. And our award-winning claims team delivers fast, quality repairs. It's no surprise Forbes ranked us the #1 auto insurer in America. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Bluebell Groom's Cake Ice Cream is renewing its vows on the frozen aisle. Milk chocolate ice cream with chocolate cake pieces, chocolate-coated strawberry hearts, swirls of strawberry sauce, and chocolate icing. See you at the reception.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Have you ever heard of paramedics who don't just respond to emergencies, but work to prevent them? The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. Cape Fear Valley Health's Community Paramedic Program is a groundbreaking initiative where paramedics aren't just transporting patients, they're building bridges to better care, right from the patient's living room. Here's Cape Fear's Alinda Bailey.
We're not just asking, what's your medical emergency? We're asking, do you have problems obtaining your medicines? Can you get to your appointments? Are you safe? Are you supported? We try to identify not only the medical needs, the mental health needs, but also the social determinants that play a factor in the care of our patients and clients.
Join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Imagine a school where you could study AI and ancient Egypt, become a National Honor Student, join a cooking club, or code the next big video game, and do it all in a comfortable space, your own home. Welcome to NC Cyber Academy, a K-12 tuition-free virtual charter school that provides you with a flexible, personalized education designed to prepare you for college and a career. Visit myncca.com and discover a learning experience that works for you, your family, and your future.
Did you know, along with keeping their local communities powered, public power line workers are part of a mutual aid network spanning the state and country? Public power crews help their neighbors when natural disasters damage electric systems. And that mutual aid network is one of the reasons public power has the highest reliability rating among energy providers, forming a camaraderie among line workers that's second to none. Interested in joining public power? Learn more about careers at electricities.com.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
This is Adam Gold.
While I'm watching Colombia-Uruguay, not only the end of that match, but the fight in the stands after it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Heard it got spicy.
That was the most excited fans we have seen in 5 years at Bank of America Stadium. Man, look at all the happy people at Bank of America.
Just took the other kind of football.
Yeah, there you go. More of that.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Graham Hill is producing the program today. So the Hurricanes will hold a morning skate tomorrow. But before we get to one-timers, sometimes I think the pregame skate can, not the pregame skate, the practices beforehand, anytime they line up, can sort of give you an idea of what we are likely to see. I do think it's important that Carolina is as whole as possible in all areas. They can afford some personnel losses to certain forwards, right? Mark Jankowski came out of the beginning of the Capital Series. Jack Roslovic's played pretty well, and he's right now exactly where he was before, playing with Taylor Hall and Logan Stankoven. But Jalen Chatfield didn't practice yesterday, didn't practice today, and Rod Brindamore says he's going to need at least a morning skate before he draws in. That's why they will skate tomorrow. Going to find out what Chatfield's got. But here's what's interesting to me. Jordan Martinook also didn't skate today, but Mark Jankowski took that spot, which to me is just a placeholder. It's not somebody that's going to play there. He's just a placeholder. Martinook will be good to go. Scott Morrow drew in to the top 6 for practice today because Chatfield, who did not play Game 5, as we got our first look at Alexander Nikishin, Chatfield has not practiced since. Whatever it is, it's probably lower body because it looked to me like he was laboring lower body in Game 4, and then, or rather Game 3, and then left Game 4. Didn't really leave Game 4, but at the very end, he looked like he pulled up lame. So if Chatfield can't go, I think we'll probably go in to see Scott Morrow and not Alexander Nikishin draw in. And that is because Nikishin is just not yet ready for this. It's so different. The number of people who wanted to see him play without really considering just how difficult it was going to be to go from KHL, by the way, to not playing for about a month, to suddenly just stepping onto the NHL ice. It's just not the same. And to me, he looked very out of place. Even though you saw the talent, he made some good plays. He's got a great shot. But he also committed a penalty, which it was trying to make a play. Played one good sequence of individual defense against Alexander Ovechkin. But otherwise, struggled with the puck a little bit and turned it over for the goal that was waved off. Bad turnover. And I don't personally think Scott Morrow is going to play a ton if he plays. I think Carolina is going to go with a lot of five defensemen, which they can do. Everybody else seems to be pretty healthy, and they are all capable of skating a lot of minutes. And in the playoffs, everybody's capable of skating a lot of minutes. All right, let's do one-timers.
Well, a majority of our one-timer questions are just going to focus on the Eastern Conference Final Game 1 tomorrow night at the Lenovo Center. And we'll start with this. Adam, looking back at that series 2 years ago, and I know that's almost a completely different roster, are there any lessons or experience from that matchup that this current roster can draw from?
The current roster, no, but as we're watching it, just understand that just the little details, just the very little details matter the most. I do think Carolina is playing better as a unit now than they were then. And again, remember that they were missing 2 very big pieces of their team that they expected to be there, on top of the fact that Teuvo Teravainen had missed, I think it was Game 2 against the Islanders in Round 1, where Jean-Gabriel Pagnotta slashed him on the wrist, or actually broke his thumb.
Yeah.
So Teravainen missed the rest of that series, missed all of the Devils series, and came back against the Panthers, but he wasn't the same. He was a shell of himself, and it was difficult. They got nothing out of him really for 3 games, and then in Game 4 he played well, but Carolina ultimately would lose the game anyway. So they seem to be in a better spot health-wise, and also their team game seems to be a lot better. And with that said, fine margins decided that series.
Next one here, we always talk about winning the first 5 minutes of a hockey game. With that said, how important will it be for the Hurricanes to set the tone early in a series like this, especially against a team that thrives on momentum swings like the Panthers?
I don't think, in most cases, I don't think first goal matters, first win matters in a 7-game series. In some ways, you almost rather be on the road to start. There's no pressure playing on the road. Hey, Florida just won a series with Toronto where they lost games 1 and 2 in Toronto, right? So they're comfortable in this situation. But I don't think you can emphasize enough how important it is for Carolina to get off to a good start within a game and in the series, because whether they want to believe it or not, you ultimately hear what is said. And this group has yet to win an Eastern Conference final game. 2019 is a totally different animal, but 2023 isn't. They've got to get off to a good start in this series. Ideally, you win game 1 and 2, but I think you got to win game 1.
All right, fair enough. That's all.
That was it?
That's it.
That was it. That doesn't mean you can't win the series by losing game 1. Like, none of it's a deal breaker, but man, you really make it tough on yourself if you don't. So it's okay. It's okay to put it all out there. I think the Hurricanes do need to win game 1. Just that simple.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and we are here. Conference finals action, and by the way, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you make your first $5 wager. You don't even have to win it, which is good if you're listening to me. So, I like the Pacers at plus money to beat the Knicks in the series. And how about the Timberwolves plus 300 to beat Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals? I kind of like Anthony Edwards and company. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. Make every moment more with FanDuel. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. They are the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Let's go! It's the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Aho now to Jarvis. Jarvis, go get the Giants goal!
Let's go, Canes!
The Chetkov, stop! It's on the goal line behind him! He does a snow angel in the paint!
Go, Canes!
Playoff hockey in Raleigh is something that you can't describe, and it's because of you. So we want to be here.
The Canes' road to the Stanley Cup runs through us. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle sports leader.
Need CPAP supplies fast? I'm Brandon Giggling, president of Parkway Sleep Health Centers, and we are the Triangle's top sleep provider, offering quick access to the equipment you need for better sleep. Get the right supplies right when you need them. With over 20 years of experience, our expert team is here to help you sleep better, sooner.
Discover why so many trust Parkway Sleep Health Centers for better sleep. Visit parkwaysleep.com now and start your journey to a healthier night's sleep. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health.
Maxed out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loan LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Join our team in the fight against cancer at V.org.
The coolest summer starts at Target with up to 50% off select Sun Squad pool and outdoor toys and 20% off select favorite day treats with Target Circle. Discover inflatable pools and outdoor toys that'll surely make a big splash this season, while you keep it cool and sweet with the most shareable cookies and frozen snacks under the sun. Hurry! Now through Memorial Day, save up to 50% on select Sun Squad toys and 20% on select favorite day treats with Target Circle, only at Target. Restrictions apply.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at richielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
This is the Adam Gold Show.
Loose ball. Brunson with it. Behind the back to Hart. Sends it to the corner. Bridges for three. It's good. Timeout Boston. Knicks rolling again. 11-5 lead.
And how about the start from Mikal Bridges, already with 7 points in this one and doing the job, knocking down the three.
The Knicks are headed to the Eastern Conference Finals. And they clinch a playoff series at home for the first time in 26 years. Domination, ending the Celtics' championship reign in 6 games. New York 119, Boston 81 the final.
119-81. Just not even competitive. Not even. It's the Adam Gold Show. How you doing, everybody? I'm Adam Gold. Welcome to the program. For those of you who might be just joining us because, I don't know, your alarm didn't go off. I have no idea why. Shouts to all of you in Charlotte who joined the program a little bit later. Plus, it's time shifted. So for all I know, your day has, has not gone well. I hope you can recover tonight. I'm Adam. Graham Hill is sitting in for Victoria. The ACC baseball tournament starts, I think, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, the first game at 9 a.m.
Excuse you?
That early in the day.
What is this, like youth soccer?
I don't know. I thought it was elementary day for a second. Then I realized the Bulls weren't playing this week since the tournament is at the Durham Bulls Athletic Park. But yeah, 9 a.m. first pitch for game one.
How do we do that? Aaron Fitt, managing editor, D1Baseball.com, joins us on the Adam Gold Show to help me sort through this. We do this twice a year. Actually, we really do it more. We'll do it again as we extend through the college baseball tournament. But, for various things, I got hockey going on. We got all sorts of other life issues, basketball. So college baseball kind of takes a back seat. So I'm just looking at your field projections, sir. 11 ACC teams you have right now in the field of 64, 13 from the SEC. Why do these two leagues need anybody else?
That's a great question. I'm glad you're dialing up the fit number here. I mean, out of the back seat, we're back in this thing, Adam. It's great to be with you again. It really feels like right now it's the SEC's world. It's how it's been for a while.
Yeah.
ACC is kind of clearly the number 2 league once again. Last year we had 4 ACC and 4 SEC teams in Omaha, and I could see something like that happening again. But it does feel like this year, just kind of a bigger picture view, there's not a lot of separation at the top of the ACC. It was a very jumbled, standings race really right down to the wire for the regular season title. And there are 5 teams like separated by a game or something in the standings. And so it feels like we're kind of waiting for an elite team to emerge out of the ACC, a leading, title contender. I feel like we had several of those last year. North Carolina and Florida State in particular, Virginia and NC State too, by the end were very, very formidable. This year, I mean, who is it? I mean, everybody's got flaws. North Carolina, maybe they're the best team, but there's some question marks there. They're not as offensive as they were last year. Their bullpen is young, talented but young. I mean, Florida State's bullpen has been an adventure, but they got other stuff going for them. So I don't feel like there's that really, really strong leading contender to win it all like you have at the top of the SEC.
Aaron Fitt, D1Baseball.com, is joining us here. ACC tournament starts tomorrow, crack of dawn. So explain to me this. I remember the debate that the ACC's coaches had a long time ago about, man, we don't want to show up for just one game. If we're not guaranteed 2 games, doesn't make sense, blah, blah, blah. Now, 16 teams, single elimination, which I'm not against. I mean, it's tournament. Tournament play. What are the coaches saying about that?
It's a great question because, I don't know. I mean, obviously they voted to put it in. I mean, I guess they're in favor of it, but you had to do something different with this 16-team super conference now. And, the Big 12 and the SEC are doing the same thing. But, I mean, just speaking for myself, I'm intrigued. I think it's going to be good for drama. Every game, quote unquote, matters. We don't have any of those dead games that we used to have in pool play. But also, like, is it really a more fan-friendly experience here? I mean, 4 games a day is a lot.
Yes.
I mean, weather happens, long baseball games happen. Like, you're never going to stay on schedule with 4 games in one day. And so you're going to have some teams playing late. You're going to have teams that, these fan bases don't know how long their team's going to be there. Whereas it's easy to kind of plan your trip as a fan from out of town. If you know ahead of time, hey, we've got these 3 games guaranteed in pool play. Now it's like, if I'm Cal or Stanford or Boston College or Pitt, the lower seeds in this tournament, it's not really worth even coming, is it? Like, you might go one and done on Tuesday and you're out, and then what? You just get a week in Durham, which, hey, I love Durham. I live here, but it's probably not the number one vacation destination on their list.
Aaron Fitt, D1Baseball.com, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Before we get into the seeding and all of that, do you think there was any discussion of 4 groups of 3, 4 groups of 4, 3, let's say 7-inning games of group play, and then semis and finals at the end? At least if you take a couple of innings off of each game, it isn't as daunting and taxing on your bullpen. Think any thought was given to that?
God, you had me at 7-inning games. I'm all in on 7-inning games. I don't think the coaches are with me on that, Adam. I don't think there was any talk of that, but they should. I mean, there's Butch.
It's
Butch
just
Thompson,
a tournament.
Yeah, well, I mean, Butch Thompson at Auburn, like he's one of the more interesting thinkers in our game as a head coach. He's been talking for years about how he thinks we should just play 7 innings or maybe 8 innings. Like, just shorten the game would be better for the product. And I think he's right, but coaches are stubborn. Baseball is full of old time thinkers, and I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But at least for the tournament, I mean, when you're trying to cram all these games in, I think it makes a lot of sense.
I mean, they play test cricket. They have 20 overs. You don't have to know what I'm talking about here, but for people who are familiar with cricket, who the matches normally take like 4 days, we get it over in a day for the World Cup. It's only the biggest event in the entire sport, and we shorten the matches simply for World Cup. All right, now let me get to the top of the bracket. Georgia Tech's the 1 seed. NC State is the 4. Florida State the 2. North Carolina the 3. Handicap the top of this for me.
Well, Georgia Tech kind of backdoored the regular season championship, it felt like. I mean, one of the softest schedules. Of course, you got a 16-team league. It's a very unbalanced schedule.
Right.
And Georgia Tech, they really only won 2 series against regional teams, Louisville and then the last week at Duke. Other than that, they kind of got fat against some of the softer part of the league. And so that's why they weren't even ranked in our top 25 heading to this final weekend. And then they won the league. And it's like, well, I guess we got to rank them. But like, it's the last go round for Danny Hall. That's kind of one of the, maybe the biggest storyline of the week. Like, this is his last season. Guy's been the head coach at Georgia Tech since, I think 1994. His first season, they went to Omaha and almost won it all with Nomar and Veritek and Jay Payton. So yeah, he's had a hell of a run, and I think he's kind of a sentimental favorite. Their team is it's a typical Georgia Tech team insofar as they're offensive, but they're maybe better on the mound than your typical Georgia Tech team, but not deep. They're still not elite on the mound. It's just that has typically been their weakness in years past, is they don't pitch very well. I think they pitch a little better this year, but the depth is a question. North Carolina's probably the best pitching team of this bunch, I think. Great rotation, best pitcher in the league with Jake Knapp. And again, we talked about the bullpen. They've got 3 freshmen that they're really leaning hard on. Great arms that have great futures, but you always wonder how freshmen are going to do once you get into the pressure of the postseason, and you've got kind of the workload fatigue factor. So that's something to keep an eye on with North Carolina this time of year. But their offense has gradually gotten better. They're less offensive than they were last year, but it's gotten better. North Carolina State, feels to me built pretty similarly, Adam. I mean, it's a pitching first team, strong rotation. 3 guys I think have started all 3 games all year,
wow.
on the weekends, which is rare.
It never happens for Elliott Avent either.
Yeah, I know. You're right. It's and so that stands out. And you got a couple of real weapons in the bullpen with Jacob Duden and Anderson Nance. And so I feel like the pitching is their biggest strength, much like North Carolina. They're not as offensive as last year, much like North Carolina, but also their offense has gotten better, in the second half, also like North Carolina. So I feel like those 2 teams are almost mirror images. And then Florida State is just, again, you got a really good rotation, 3 lefties that all have good stuff. Jamie Arnold might be one of the top picks in the draft at the top of the rotation. And it's just their bullpen is a little scary. But they can score runs once again. Again, not as offensive as last year. None of these teams are as offensive as last year. I mean, it's
okay.
I don't think any team in the ACC hit 100 home runs this year or something, and you got like 4 or 5 in the SEC that did. There's just a little bit less firepower across the league than there was a year ago.
Aaron Fitt, D1Baseball.com, is joining us here in the Adam Gold Show. Let me get to the Duke Blue Devils, who I know started the season like in the top 15. They're not ranked now. As a 7 seed, are they dangerous? And I saw that in your projections, you have them as a 2 seed in the Auburn Regional. And is it my imagination, or is Duke more dangerous when they're not hosting regionals than when they are on the road?
Well, we don't really know yet because they haven't hosted a regional, which I feel like last year they deserved to host.
There you go.
They got snubbed. But yeah, I mean, they've actually had a pretty solid year. I mean, they're 17-13 in the league, and it's probably not going to host. Their RPI is a little too low, but once again, it's just they always get better down the stretch under Chris Pollard. It seems like every year they make a run in the second half. They kind of find the right combinations on the mound, and sometimes it can be a little unorthodox. I mean, they wound up moving Owen Probst, their kind of 3-year bullpen guy, into the Friday starter spot this year, and that worked out pretty well for him. And you got this Reed Easterly, who's a lefty that they got from Yale in the portal. He's kind of filled the role that Charlie Bielenson had last year, just a guy who pitches every day and can be extended, and is just a everyday Eddie guy that is kind of the key to that whole staff, really. And again, their offense has kind of found it. I mean, after a slow start, AJ Gracia was a preseason All-American, just a really, really brutal first half. And he's come on. He's really come on in the second half, and that's been big for them. So, I mean, again, it's a team that has some nice older players. They do a good job in the portal with their Ivy League guys. Ben Miller is still there raking, Ivy League transfer they brought in last year. So there's a lot to like about their team, and it kind of does feel like they're lying in the weeds here.
All right, final thing for Aaron Fitt, because motivation for these types of events varies from team to team. I don't know how it changes now that they're out of group play, so everybody's just not just playing 2 games. If I was going to ask you, who do you think is motivated to win, who can just show up, play a game or 2 and go home and be happy with it, what would you say?
It's interesting because this year, more than most years, there's not a lot of teams that I feel like are totally locked in to what they want. Like sometimes, like Wake Forest a couple years ago, they were the slam dunk #1 national seed. They didn't really have anything to play for.
Right.
At various times, it feels like usually you got like a locked in top 8 seed. And this year, I don't think we do. I mean, North Carolina and Florida State are kind of in contention for top 8s. They both kind of need to win at least a game here. I mean, Florida, Clemson, NC State, Georgia Tech. These teams are all trying to get into hosting position and strengthen their hosting position. Right now, we just moved Georgia Tech and Clemson into hosts in our latest projection last night, but last week they weren't. So they were kind of right on the edge. NC State, same thing. Like they had been a host, they've fallen back. They need to make a real run if they want to get back in the hosting mix, just because their RPI is lower. And then you got kind of, your Virginias, your Miamis, and Notre Dame are teams that really need to win here to strengthen their at-large cases. And, Virginia's finished pretty well, but they're still 55 in the RPI, so it's a good league record, but it's a preseason number 2 team in the country that I picked to win it all heading into the year. And they're on the bubble. You got to win a few games here and just to strengthen your position. And Notre Dame has come on strong after a brutal first half. They won like last 4 series or something. Their RPI is better. They're 14-16. If they can go win a game or 2 here, they could surprisingly make a regional, which people didn't really see coming. I didn't see coming. So those are some storylines to watch here. I don't know if that answers your question, Adam.
No, it does. Notre Dame, by the way, if they beat Boston College, would play Virginia. So in some ways, that could end up being an elimination game of sorts. But I'm fascinated to see what the single elimination tournament does. And I'm looking forward to talking with you on a more regular basis now that we're at the business end of the college baseball season. Aaron Fitt, D1Baseball.com. It's the letter D, the number 1, baseball.com. Sir, appreciate your time always.
Pleasure, Alex. Talk to you soon.
You got it. See, it's college baseball tournament time. Now we just dive in. It's like all the people who are now covering Hurricanes hockey. Like, where you been all year? We go to every stinking home game, and all of a sudden now press row B is filled up with people. Come on. Where you been? It's not like we just started playing. I kid. All right, when we come back, Dave Pagnotta from the 4th period on Carolina, Florida. Also, what happened yesterday in Toronto, and what does it do for free agency and maybe some Hurricanes targets? Next.
From the heels,
touchdown, Carolina,
to the Canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
September 1st versus TCU. That is UNC football's opening game. How many switches, how many twists in the Bill Belichick story are we going to get in the next 100-some-odd days before the opener? Unlimited. It is insane, and UNC has to find a way to cut out the distractions and focus on football.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
What? New scratch-offs are out? That means new chances to become a North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club member.
Yeah, in the Winners Club, I'll reinvent myself. I won't go by just plain Todd. I'll go by Toddrick. I'll get a gold jacket, play my saxophone again. I'll stop and smell the flowers, call my mom more.
Oh, wrap it up, Todd.
It's Toddrick.
This month's scratch-offs pack over $100 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.35 to 4.58. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in experience and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
A pepperoni pizza for the table. May I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time.
Pizza deserves Pepsi.
Handy Hugo's has a refreshing deal. 2 1-liter Pepsis for just $3. Quench your thirst at Handy Hugo's today.
Hey friends, Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for Clayton Homes. And as you know, here in North Carolina, summers heat up. And so are those deals at the Clayton Homes Sign and Save event.
Right now, you can save up to $5,000 instantly on a brand new home. That's $2,500 off a single section or $5,000 off a multi-section home. And you know these homes are built tough in state-of-the-art facilities that protect them during construction. And you know every home is loaded with Energy Smart features, giving you comfort, efficiency, and long-term savings. And with tons of floor plans and fully furnished models, it's easy to find your perfect match. Visit your local Clayton Homes or Oakwood Homes or check out limited time offers now at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. But don't wait. The Clayton Homes Sign and Save event ends August 31st. Terms and conditions for the Sign and Save sales event at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating Clayton Homes family of brands retailers through 8/31. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Walk right through the door. It's all here to explore. With guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Drink responsibly. This is Adam Gold.
I have so many questions too. Like, is the mom going to be in the business too? Are we going to have like themed UNC products? She's in it, so.
Interesting ram horn you've got there.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Graham Hill producing the program. I explained why last night's game, Game 7, Florida-Toronto, mattered so much to me in that it would have completely thrown my Memorial Day weekend into chaos because those two games were Toronto to have won last night would have been in Raleigh, and since I was supposed to be in Washington, that would have either made for several train tickets or many, many miles driven back and forth between D.C. and Raleigh. But I don't know why I ever thought that was going to be the case. Dave Pagnotta from the fourth period joins me now on the Adam Gold Show. I don't know why I introduced you that way, but I really thought I was the guy that, because my wife and I were sitting watching it, and I thought the last 10 minutes of the first period were good enough for the Leafs, where they had turned around a 7-0 deficit on the shot count to make it 7-7, that until Florida got a couple of late chances. I thought that the second period might have been a good one for Toronto, and then they started the second period, and it was not a good one. Is that a structural problem for the Maple Leafs, or is that Florida just being better at this than them?
Adam, I think it's the latter. It's just, honestly, it was just Florida being a better team overall, across the board, up and down. And the Leafs, they rebounded in the second half of that first period and came to life. But I don't know what they were expecting to start that second period. But Florida just reverted back to what they did in the first 10 of the game.
Yeah.
And just, and Toronto had no answer. Now, great shot to open the scoring by Seth Jones. And then you got a bit of a miscue on the second one, a bit of an oops. And all of a sudden it's 2-0. And that's when things just started to unravel even further for the Leafs. And by utilizing their depth and their physicality and their relentlessness, Florida was just proven to be too much for Toronto.
Yeah, and I think Florida did to Toronto. In some ways, we had just seen that with Carolina doing that to Washington, and that they made it nearly impossible for the Maple Leafs to exit the zone. And I think it was only Brandon, Tanev, who was like, hey, guys, we got to get moving. He was like trying to direct people, and he couldn't seem to get anybody on board.
Yeah. It honestly, especially in the first 10, I mean, it was incredible how the Panthers just continuously attacked and attacked and attacked. They were just the aggressor the entire first 10 minutes. And Toronto, I don't know what snapped in them to kind of get out of it, but they looked shell-shocked in that opening frame. And then once things, went entirely Florida's way in the second period, after going up 3-0, you anticipated a little bit of response from Toronto. The crowd was kind of out of it. All of a sudden, Max Domi scores, make it 3-1. The crowd wakes up and realizes they're still in this for about 30 seconds of gameplay before Florida got back in it. And that was the end of that. And then people started leaving and throwing stuff on the ice. And, it's nonsense.
It's a frustrated fan base. Isn't it also a frustrated media? I mean, you're not part of the local media, but isn't it also a frustrated media? Like, because I looked at that team, I thought Brad Marchand was right earlier in the series when he said that's a different team. This is not the same old Leafs, but they seem to be poised to blow it all up.
Yeah, and he was right, and he echoed those sentiments. So did Paul Maurice after the game last night. That they both said, it's kind of unfair to a certain extent how much they get criticized and scrutinized by both the fan base and the local media here. I go to about, when I'm not on the road, I'm at about 30, 32 home games a year, and I see it on both ends. And the frustration, with the fan base to a certain extent is justifiable. Again, I don't condone the stuff about throwing jerseys and beer and all kinds of whatever on the ice. Those guys are just boneheads. But, there is a lot of that frustration that boils over because this year is a better team. Yep. They are overall, top to bottom, a better team. The structure and the system that head coach Craig Berube instilled in this group made them a better team. They were deeper. They brought in intangible pieces in the offseason, and they added that and strengthened it with the additions of guys like Scott Lawton and Brandon Carlo, both of whom are under contract. So they'll be around next season. But when it comes down to it, and push comes to shove, it's your big boys. And if you're not getting that type of response on a regular basis, and it doesn't have to be the same guy every night, but someone's got to step up.
Yeah.
And, it hasn't been that, with guys like Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews and Tavares and Willie Nylander, you can't question the skill set that they have. But they need to have somebody who's riding with them, at least one of the other two guys on their lines, that can play the physical edge game and help protect while keeping up with the pace of play. Matthew Nice is getting there for Toronto, but that's the only guy they have within that top six that brings that oomph, that edge to playing within a top six and to do it on a consistent basis in the postseason. It's primarily one of the reasons why Toronto has faltered for so long and likely why that core is going to change quite decently this offseason.
Dave Pagnotta, the fourth period, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show at the fourth period on Twitter. Now, Mitch Marner, free agent. John Tavares, free agent. Both of those unrestricted. Nyes is a restricted free agent. And I read an article the other day about the potential offer sheet targets, and he was on it. Look, I know the Hurricanes have been have thrown an offer sheet around, so I'm not suggesting that they will or won't. St. Louis might be more of a threat than anybody. They did 2 last year and got both players. But what's your sense on the priorities for what the Maple Leafs are going to try and keep? And I have an obvious follow-up after.
Well, yeah, I think they have a lot of cap space this offseason. They have a lot of cap space to sign all 3 of those guys. They won't have much left after that, but they do. I don't think they will. I do believe that for the last little while now that Mitch Marner is headed to July 1. It sounds like that's been the case for a little while. That he's going to test the market and see what's available to him before making a final decision. Now, Toronto can turn around and say, we'll give you $15 million a year for 8 years. That's probably going to change his mind, but I don't anticipate Toronto doing that. So barring that, there's a very, very good likelihood that he is going to go to July 1. John Tavares wants to stay.
Right.
He's made that clear. It's likely to be a short-term 2 or 3 year deal in the anywhere from 5 to 6 range is my guess. I thought it would have been a little higher initially when they started talks in the middle of the season, but it seems like that's kind of where it'll hover if he does stick around. Matthew Nyes is not going anywhere. They're going to do everything they can to lock him up. And they'll have the cap space to do it. Now, the thing with offer sheets and what we saw last season or last summer when St. Louis took advantage of Edmonton's cap-strapped position, they waited till August before doing it. I think we will start to see more offer sheets across the league, but it has to be strategic. I don't anticipate anything happening in the first bit of July. That's likely to be later on, probably end of July, beginning of August like last season, when you see teams that are handcuffed by their cap position getting pounced on at that point. I don't think Toronto's going to be in that position, but everything I've heard around Nyes is in that 3 to 5 year range, in the neighborhood of $7.5 million per.
If somebody came at Nyes with 7 times 8, what would Toronto do?
I think they would match. I don't think they can afford to lose Mitch Marner and Matthew Nyes in an off season or in a span of a few years. I think they would have no choice but to match. I think a lot of teams understand that. So I would be very shocked if it ever got to that point this summer. I anticipate him sticking around, but again, Toronto may go nuts this summer, and all of a sudden, end of July, not have a significant amount of cap space.
Right.
And that could happen at that point. But I think as of now, I would be very surprised if A, it happens, and B, Toronto would not be in a position to match.
Dave Pagnotta, the fourth period, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, to Mitch Marner, and I don't know that I'm all that enamored with. I mean, I love the speed, I love the skill, I love the fact that he is a defensive-minded player as well, good penalty killer, all of that. If Carolina is interested in him, is Mitch interested in Carolina? It's okay to say no, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know that answer definitively. I was going to preface it by, we all know about the Mikko Rantanen situation and the offer there. And I think at the time, when Mitch said no to waiving his no movement clause, that would have applied to any team, not exclusively to Carolina. If there was another deal with whomever, LA, St. Louis, Philly, whatever, I think the answer would have been the same. He didn't want to move anywhere. He wanted to just focus on the rest of the season, try to win it with the Leafs, and then figure out his future from that point on. So from that perspective, I don't think it was a no to Carolina. I think it was just a no to the idea of it happening anywhere. That being said, I think we all know how good the Hurricanes are, and Mitch certainly wants an opportunity to take those next steps in terms of winning. He is going to have the pick of the litter if he hits the open market July 1. He will have teams like San Jose and Chicago very interested in him. He'll have teams like LA and Pittsburgh and possibly Carolina and Calgary and Philly and a bunch of others. He's going to have the pick of the litter. I think it's going to be a combo for him on where he wants to go. Opportunity to win consistently plus dollars, living conditions, all of that fun stuff. I think he would consider it. I just don't know how high up the totem pole they would be for them, for him and his family, I mean.
All right, I guess his final question, maybe two more. When I look at Mitch, I mean, the lack of physicality, that kind of thing, doesn't bother me as much. And I know people get wrapped up in the playoff success or lack thereof in terms of production, and I get it. Carolina doesn't need any more players who don't score in the postseason. They've had plenty of those in the past. But does his style? It seems like his style does fit what Carolina wants to do.
Yeah, and the thing about Mitch, like you mentioned it earlier, great 200-foot player, very good defensively, probably underrated a little bit defensively with how he performs. There's a reason why teammates and go to Four Nations. The teammates there that don't play with him in Toronto. His head coach at the time, John Cooper, the head coach of Tampa, spoke so eloquently and highly of Mitch Marner and what he brings to the table the skill set that he brings, the vision that he has, his playmaking ability.
Yeah.
It's not just the people in Toronto praising him. These are, soon to be, eventually Hall of Fame individuals that are putting him on a pedestal because they value and they can recognize his talent. I think absolutely he would fit well. He would complement what the Hurricanes have. And he would probably, one of the reasons he excelled so well with Canada, I mean, yeah, he's playing with Sidney Crosby, which certainly that's a plus. But the other guy on that line with them was Sam Bennett.
Yeah.
When you've got a guy that plays with that physicality, that can keep up with the pace of play of players like Sid and like Mitch, it makes it that much more, I don't want to say easier for a guy like Mitch to play, but there's a different level of confidence knowing that you've got a guy on your line that can go to bat for you in that moment, not later on in the game, same shift. It gives you a little different type of confidence because you can play with a little bit of more, you're almost looser knowing that you've got that. Some guys on Carolina, like Seth Jarvis, for example, going back to Team Canada, there's familiarity there. That type of style, I think, would work with a guy like Mitch. Now, I think there are other teams that possess those types of players, and I do believe that, if he does end up somewhere else, he will continue to excel. It's just a matter of finding that right environment for him.
All right, final thing for Dave Pagnotta. Seth Jarvis addressed it today. Everybody's been talking about, well, Carolina plays a boring style. Jarvis is like, I love playing this way. We play fast. We hound the puck. We hound pucks. We take a lot of shots. We play with speed and pace. From where you are, what is Carolina?
Very, very well-rounded, and a frustrating team to play against. And to his point, I mean, that's what they thrive on. Getting under the skin of the opposition, but also frustrating them in terms of just clogging them up and not giving the opposition too much to work with in certain instances of the game. The additions that they made this offseason, last offseason, everybody was talking about, Pesci's gone and they moved this guy, they lost that guy. But the guys that they brought in, Sean Walker has been very sound for this group this season, has complemented the group very well, stylistically with how they perform and how they play. They can bite you offensively when they need to, but they play a strong, structured, responsible game. And that definitely it's that wear and tear kind of mentality on the other team. This is going to be one hell of a battle between the Hurricanes and the Panthers in this conference final. The Panthers bring a similar element to it. This is, for me, this is a shot-for-shot series that I can't wait to see. And opportunities, bounces are going to go one way. They're going to go to another way. I think this series is going to come down to how many bounces go one team's way more than the other. But Florida can frustrate. Carolina is one of the best at doing it. I honestly, I can't wait for this to get going tomorrow.
All right, we'll see you in town for some of it.
I will be, yes, for the later part of the series, so probably Game 6.
All right, cool. Well, Game 6 is not here. You'll be in Florida for Game 6.
Game 5.
That's fine.
Yeah, Game 5.
But if you want to hang out in Raleigh during Game 6, we can grab a beer.
That'd be great. Watch parties, I'm in.
Hey, thank you very much. Dave Pagnotta from the fourth period. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care, buddy.
You got it. Look, if he wants to come hang out, where's the watch party? At Carolina Ale House in Cary. There you go. We'll do the Game 6 there. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. There were a little bit of an adjustment to the defensive pairings today, based on Jalen Chatfield out. Let me just go through that now. Slavin and Burns played together, right? They skated together today. Orlov and Sean Walker were on the second pair. Remember, going back to game number 3. I'm sorry, game 3? Game 3. Or no, I'm sorry, game 4. Game 3 was the first game where Jalen Chatfield didn't finish the third period with an injury, and Sean Walker ended up playing more than anybody else. Played 23 minutes on ice that game. In game 4 is when Walker ended up, Chatfield played the whole game, right? But Walker and Burns flipped in the third period to where Sean Walker was playing with Jacob Slavin. And he was great. And I asked Rod before game 5, was he going to consider going back to that? And he goes, I'm not really sure because we found out Alexander Nikishin was likely going to have a chance to play. They were hoping to get Chatfield on the ice. Remember, he skated. He practiced in between the games. But ultimately, maybe didn't practice in between the games, but he skated I guess before Game 4. We all expected him to play. Rod said, he's going to play. No problem. But Chatfield didn't even take the warm-up. Nikishin went out first. Nikishin actually did a rookie lap. And he played 10.5 minutes. There was some good. There was some not so good. And there was some, okay, we can see what everybody is in love with. But he wasn't great. And I don't think Rod wants to, worry about that during an Eastern Conference final. If Scott Morrow draws in, and it looks like there's a good chance of that tomorrow for Game 1, at least he's going to be playing on his proper side. Now, my guess is Scott Morrow, based on the scoreboard, will play maybe as much as Alexander Nikishin played. I don't think you're going to see a ton of Scott Morrow play. So Carolina is, and by the way, every team does this. Carolina is more than likely going to rely heavily on 5 defensemen. So you're going to see a lot more time for Sean Walker, who could certainly eat minutes. He is a really good skater and can play with just about anybody. So you'll see them kind of balance out you'll have almost everybody playing more than 20 minutes. Maybe Shane Gostisbehere gets to like 18 or 19, but everybody else will play a little bit more than 20, and maybe you'll see Scott Morrow play 8 or 9 if that's the way they go. Obviously, they're better off with Jalen Chatfield in the lineup as opposed to Scott Morrow. But I'm not saying you've seen the last of Alexander Nikishin, because I don't know that to be the case. But based on the way they skated today, Nikishin was skating as an extra defender, and Morrow was skating with Shane Gostisbehere. So, in general, if Chatfield was definitely going to play, I think they would have had a placeholder with Orlov. Instead, they had Walker there and Morrow with Gostisbehere. Generally, you can tell what the head coach is thinking, even in a practice day. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We will stretch. We will place bets. I have not won a bet in, I can't remember, other than the Jordan Staal anytime goal scorer from Game 5. I won that one. But that was it. That's like it for like the last 2 weeks. So don't listen to me, even when I give you bets. Next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, down to the Final Four in the NBA. Can Indiana break through? Unlike last year. Can Minnesota break through? Unlike last year. Only one place to enhance your NBA conference final viewing. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers, $200 to you in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place your first $5 wager. Doesn't even matter if you win it. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. Join today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
It's not about the cars, the speed, the action. It's not about the party or the long weekend. It's about them, the ones that gave everything. This Memorial Day weekend, we honor the fallen at America's Home for Racing.
The 66th running of the Coca-Cola 600.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon, you wish would never end.
The
homemade taste of Bluebell, and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Bluebell Groom's Cake Ice Cream is renewing its vows on the frozen aisle. Milk chocolate ice cream with chocolate cake pieces, chocolate-coated strawberry hearts, swirls of strawberry sauce, and chocolate icing. See you at the reception.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Have you ever heard of paramedics who don't just respond to emergencies, but work to prevent them? The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. Cape Fear Valley Health's Community Paramedic Program is a groundbreaking initiative where paramedics aren't just transporting patients, they're building bridges to better care, right from the patient's living room. Here's Cape Fear's Alinda Bailey.
We're not just asking, what's your medical emergency? We're asking, do you have problems obtaining your medicines? Can you get to your appointments? Are you safe? Are you supported? We try to identify not only the medical needs, the mental health needs, but also the social determinants that play a factor in the care of our patients and clients.
Join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Here at NC Cyber Academy, screens are a good thing. At our K-12 tuition-free virtual charter school, your child can find a flexible and personalized education that lets them take a brain break when they need it, but also provides structured one-on-one time with our amazing teachers. But we also power down our laptops for in-person activities with fellow students to build community. Visit myncca.com to learn how we can set your child up for success in the classroom, at college, and in their careers.
This is Adam Gold.
And I did have to use two screens at one point, or a couple of points, and I don't like it. I can't watch two games at the same time.
There's a lot going on.
I'm sorry. I'm incapable of doing that. Because there were times where, I forgot this other game was on in front of me.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Graham Hill is producing the program. Scottie Scheffler won the PGA Championship. Theoretically, if we watched, and I did, he won yesterday, right? Nuh-uh. He won it on Saturday. His closing run of holes on Saturday, which created the, 3-shot lead going into the final round, that's where he won this tournament. Because if you watched yesterday, you saw Scottie in not just a pedestrian opening 9 holes, a shaky opening 9 holes. Couldn't hit fairways, was left of greens, everything was going left. And he was 1 over par in the front 9. If he's 1 shot ahead as opposed to 3, and at one point 5, after a couple holes he was 5 ahead, then all of a sudden he's 2 back or 3 back, and now you've got so many more players who are in the hunt. But because he only lost 1 shot to par on the front 9, there was only one guy with him, Jon Rahm. I think when Scheffler was still on 8, Rahm made birdie to get to 9 under, and they were tied. And I'm like, wait a second, we have a tournament here. And then Scheffler made kind of a routine birdie on the par 5 10th, and I thought that just kind of, all right, I'm good. I'm back to being close to what Scottie is. I mean, he basically was 1 under par the rest of the day after that. And Rahm fell apart late. But Rahm had already stopped making birdies. He had opportunities in 11 and 12 and 14, and he couldn't convert. 15, which he botched into a par, which is a par 5. So Rahm started making positive steps. It was there, but Rahm didn't play well enough on the back nine to get it done. You just have to make birdies when you've spotted the world number one. I think Rahm was 5 shots back at the start of the day. You got to shoot a low number. Scotty isn't going to come back. I figured the worst he was going to shoot was 69. He ended up shooting 71. But he also, if you watched it, he didn't play well. That really was about as poorly as Scheffler was ever going to play. So somebody was going to have to post a big, low number. Nobody did. Actually, somebody did, but was it Harris English? Shot a 65, but he started so far back, his 65, which is 6 under, only got him to 6 under. That wasn't ever going to win. All right, should we stretch?
First things first, thank you for giving a little PGA Championship recap.
I got more.
It allowed me to answer a important email, so I'll do a little personal highlight.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning, next up with Paul Eichner, the show that I produce for locally from 9 to 10, a little special game day interview with head coach Rod Brindamore.
Look at that.
So be on the lookout for that. I know, I feel like Adam Gold interviewing him on game day for Stormwatch.
Huh, I'll be talking to him probably around 11:15, 11:30 maybe. So obviously that's well before then.
So there you go. Just a little self promotion for next up tomorrow morning. But Adam, I want to share with you how 10 months ago, WWE accurately predicted the Eastern Conference Finals. I know you're probably thinking yourself right now.
I don't even know who that is.
World Wrestling Entertainment.
Oh, okay.
Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton certainly have a history on the basketball court. We all know this. But it's their 2024 confrontation in the wrestling ring that's starting to make some waves. Brunson and Halliburton met each other at WWE Friday Night SmackDown at Madison Square Garden in June of last year. With the Knicks reaching the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2000, NBA fans are noticing that WWE may have foreshadowed an incredible NBA matchup. In June of last year, Brunson and Halliburton had a confrontation at SmackDown as Halliburton made his way to the ring with Logan Paul. Yes, you heard that name correctly, former YouTube star. He spotted Brunson sitting in the front row, stepped towards him. Brunson folded his arms and gave a shake of the head before Halliburton kept moving. Halliburton came out with the heel wrestler since they were in MSG. And then as the match went on and Logan Paul tried to sneak one past the official, this is how it went down.
Logan just called Tyrese Halliburton for something. That's Jeff. We know what Jeff usually carries around with him. It's the brass knuckles, Wade.
That's brass on steel. And if it comes to brass on George, game over. Wait a second.
Jalen Brunson you're going to get. Oh, God.
What do we call this? Is this game 8?
Not tonight. Not in the Garden.
Yes, tonight in the Garden.
No hands were thrown, but it was just it was creative writing to have Tyrese Halliburton come out in an Indiana Pacers shirt at Madison Square Garden with Jalen Brunson in the front row and then have Brunson play interference to Logan Paul and Tyrese Halliburton's antics. Again, no fists were thrown, but don't know, maybe something might happen in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Like it.
And now let's see if people will like our bets.
Hope so. I hope so. Sorry.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Yeah. Okay, you can owe me. I owe you one.
All right. Again, I haven't gotten anything right in like 2 weeks.
I'm right there with you.
So you go first.
And with it being my last day producing the Adam Gold Show before Victoria returns.
The run is over.
The run is over, but I'm going all in for a big 3-leg underdog parlay. All Major League Baseball games today. Chicago Cubs versus the Florida Marlins. Sorry, Victoria, give me the Marlins money line plus 152. Seattle Mariners versus Chicago White Sox. Give me the White Sox money line plus 172. Baltimore Orioles versus Milwaukee Brewers. Orioles money line plus 100. Plus 1250 the odds for my 3-leg parlay.
You're taking the Orioles?
I'm taking the Orioles.
I thought they lose every game. They just fired their manager.
Exactly. Now they have something to. Now the team can rally around each other because of said firing.
Now, here's why it's not going to work, because the manager wasn't the problem. It's the front office that's the problem, and firing the manager doesn't work. Never mind. Sorry.
Are they already out of playoff contention?
They're close to it.
It feels that way.
What are they, 15-30?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know Josh Graham, our good friend up in Winston-Salem, is ripping his hair out this baseball season.
It's just not good. They had high expectations going into the year. Did you already make it? You already did that.
Yes, 3-leg parlay.
All right, let's do this. We're going to start. There is a Premier League match today. There is one. Liverpool and Brighton. Liverpool isn't going to win anymore because they're done playing. They might win the last match, which is at home to Crystal Palace. But they're at Brighton on the south coast. Beautiful place. And this will be a draw, plus 280. And Luis Diaz is going to score a goal for the Reds, plus 1165. There you go. It's why I don't win. Because half of my bets are plus like 1165.
Go big or go home, though, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm about.
Got to go for the plus money. Yeah, there you have it. Those. I mean, my bets are in. Yeah.
You just ran the table.
Just ran the table. 3-leg parlay plus 1250.
I can't believe you're doing that to me. I expected some little bit of lead in. All right. The Mets are in Boston to take on the Red Sox. Mets coming off getting not swept. They lost the series 2-1 to the Yankees. 8-2 last night. Cody Bellinger, a grand slam and 6 runs batted in. I think the Mets are smarting a little bit. Red Sox plus money at home, under 9 runs. That is plus 230. Red Sox plus money at home and under 9 runs. That's plus 230. But Juan Soto going deep for the Mets at plus 300.
There you go. I almost thought about taking the Red Sox money line, but I didn't want to disrespect you on your own show picking against the Mets.
It's quite all right. This doesn't really bother me one way, shape, or form. Minnesota is plus 290 against Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals in the NBA. I like Minnesota in that series. I am on board with Anthony Edwards. We'll talk more about it next hour with Brendan Whitted, who is our basketball brain. But plus money is pretty nice.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, business owners out there, if you are looking for a great team-building experience or a treat for your employees, Adam Gold here for X Golf in Cary, North Carolina's premier indoor golf experience. Off US 64 in the McGregor Village Shopping Center, a great reward for your sales team for making budget, maybe a new spot for the office party, or hey, just take a long lunch and get in an emergency night at Pebble Beach. I'm telling you, off the charts. Great bar menu as well. Online, playxgolf.com/Cary.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
September 1st versus TCU. That is UNC football's opening game. How many switches, how many twists in the Bill Belichick story are we going to get in the next 100-some-odd days before the opener? Unlimited. It is insane, and UNC has to find a way to cut out the distractions and focus on football.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Struggling to get the sleep treatment you need? I'm Megan Giggling, General Manager of Parkway Sleep Health Centers. You shouldn't have to wait for better sleep. Our streamlined process provides for sleep studies, CPAP machines, and supplies, without the long delays you'll find at other sleep centers. At Parkway Sleep, we'll help you get good rest faster, and with the care you deserve.
With over 20 years of experience, join countless satisfied customers who have discovered the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit us today at parkwaysleep.com. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health.
Will you make the right call? Time's running out, pressure's on, and you need your roof replaced. Hi, I'm Holly from RoofWorks. It's 4th and goal, and the decision's in your hands. The competition can't stop you. You're about to score the game winner. We've trained for years for this moment to raise the roof for you. So avoid the noise and put us in the game. Call RoofWorks today or visit us online at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
Maxed out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
If only life had a remote control, you could pause or rewind. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Journalism is getting closer now. He's behind a wall of horses. He's looking for a place to go, and he's got nowhere to go. Oh, he bumped hard with Gloriaton. In the meanwhile, Gosker's running the race of his life. Journalism is still running on. He's back into second. He might even win it. Here's the wire. Oh, my goodness. Journalism has won the Preakness Stakes in a performance like you read about.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Graham Hill producing. Did you watch the Preakness?
I'm going to be completely honest. I kind of lost track of it in the midst of every other sporting event going on this weekend.
I didn't watch it live, but anybody can post a 2-minute video of the race online, right?
That's also true.
That's how I watched it. And I'm telling you, that was one of the most incredible races I have ever watched in Triple Crown thoroughbred racing. It was incredible. First of all, journalism broke well, but basically just moved over to the rail and spent, 80% of the race just hugging the rail. And then at a time where you thought it would move outside and just get a clear path, it actually moved closer to the rail. And it nearly got squeezed, actually did, and there was nearly like a 4-horse pileup. Like if you are a fan of restrictor plate racing, it almost looked like that. There was 3 horses bunched together, and the 2 on the outsides were like squeezing journalism that was in the middle. There were elbows being thrown. It was crazy. Journalism somehow got through that traffic and then had to make up about 4 lengths in the closing stretch. It was an incredible race. I think he won by a head. A phenomenal race. Just really was. That was the big favorite at the Kentucky Derby that ultimately lost the stretch drive duel to Sovereignty. Sovereignty didn't run the Preakness. So, wild stuff. I assume they'll both run the Belmont. It's my guess. I don't know, maybe because there's an extra week in between the Preakness and the Belmont. Although I guess it's possible that journalism won't. But it would be cool to see a match race, essentially, in the final leg of the Triple Crown. Sovereignty, closed really well in the Derby. And clearly, journalism closed well in the Preakness. Could be a great race. Anyway, that was a thrill. I can't believe that we didn't have injuries. If you watched it,
thankful though.
Holy cow, was that physical? One thing quickly before we do the Wall of Sound, and our friend Brendan Whitted's going to talk hoops with us coming up in about 10 minutes or so. This is the last year of USC Notre Dame football rivalry. This rivalry has been played for basically 100 years. And you're talking about, well, this is not even hyperbole. Notre Dame is the signature college football franchise in America. This is not, I'm not saying they're the best team, but that's the franchise. And Southern Cal, albeit not as much today, but for basically 50 years, from the 60s all the way through the Pete Carroll era, was more often than not a major player nationally in college football, to the point where those two, that annual rivalry, is the most decorated in terms of national championships, in terms of a rivalry. Alabama's got 1 billion. I'm not saying that these two schools are better than Alabama, whatever. But in terms of a year-in, year-out rivalry, yeah, there's nothing better in terms of the success of two college football programs. It's the last year. Southern Cal doesn't want to renew. Notre Dame does. Southern Cal doesn't want to. Whatever their reasoning is, too much travel. We're not sure what the college football playoff's going to be like. Yeah, that doesn't mean this game shouldn't be played. Anyway, I hope that the greed of college football doesn't cancel that game. But just one more example of the way of the future of college football, not giving a damn about what the people want. All right, let's do a wall of sound.
The wall of sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, let's start with some today in Rod Brindamore thoughts. All right, the cool thing about this team, according to not only Rod, but if you talk to the players, is that everybody has a role, and they all know what that role is.
Every team, like I said, at this stage, everybody has to have an impact in a role or whatever you want to put it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be playing here. And so, some guys get a bigger piece of the pie. We always talk about that, and that's just the nature of the game. But every piece counts. And so it's how do you make that valued? I think they do it by the way they go about their business. I mean, it's really not my job. It's their job to make sure that they show that worth, and they obviously have.
Yeah, everybody playing here has played well enough to get to the Final Four of hockey. Here's Andrei Svechnikov, who's halfway to where they want to be.
Feels awesome, just dreaming about it, to be honest. Just were talking yesterday actually about it. Believe it, if you're going to win the Stanley Cup, just, dreaming about it, and hopefully it's going to happen.
I agree with Andre. Hopefully it's going to happen. William Carrier, whose name is on the Stanley Cup from his days with the Vegas Golden Knights, on rest, but trying to maintain a fine edge.
It's just practice, practice hard, practice like you play, and then after that rest and take care of the body. But, if you get out there for an hour and, get out and practice like you play, and, don't get soft out there, because you could get caught in a trap where it translates to game one.
4 days off, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I don't think that's too much.
Well, before the last series started, they almost had a week off.
Yeah, but both teams were in the same position, right? Exact same position. I don't think 4 days, because they've had 4-day breaks during the regular season. I don't think 4 days is crazy. They did get 2 good practices in, and they will skate tomorrow before game 1. All right, here's Scotty Scheffler after winning the PGA.
Yeah, just a lot of happiness. I think, maybe thankful as well. It was a long week. I felt like this was as hard as I've battled for a tournament in my career. This was a pretty challenging week. The first 2 days I did not swing at my best, and I was able to post a score somehow. And, outside of the last 5 holes yesterday, that's where I really kind of put myself ahead in the tournament. And, I mean, the back nine today was pretty special as well. But yesterday, the way I finished off that round, I think it was really important for me to have a lead to play with today. And I played with it a little bit more than I would have liked to. I think at one point in the tournament, I was tied for the lead on the back nine, but stepped up when we needed to, and it was a pretty special week.
So we were talking about this before. Scottie Scheffler won the PGA on Saturday, 4 under over his last 5 holes. And the first 9 holes for him on Sunday were a train wreck. He was terrible for him. He was only 1 over par. So when other people are bad, they're 4 over. But that's Scottie Scheffler because he is a machine. And at one point, it looked like, my gosh, Jon Rahm might actually do this. Did John think that way?
It was very close. God, it'd been a while since I had that much fun on the golf course. It's 15 holes. Even the first 7 of the day where I was swinging well and things just weren't happening, but I kept myself in there, make the pars that I needed, and then play really good golf from the 8th to the 15th, right? It's just mistakes around the green that that bunker shot on 14, I thought I landed it what I needed to. It was just softer bounce and a misread, and then, what to say about 15. And yeah, the last 3 holes it's a tough pill to swallow right now.
Yeah, he went bogey, double bogey over the last 3 holes. But it was the missed opportunities on 14 and 15, and a couple others that doomed him. You had to make birdie on those 2 holes because Scotty was going to, and I think Scotty did on both of them. And I think Scotty bogeyed 1 more coming in, which ended up having him shoot 71 for the day. All right, one more thing, and I mentioned that Bryson DeChambeau, I thought, also lost the tournament on Saturday, and here's why. How much of Saturday did you watch, Graham?
I probably watched around 2 o'clock on.
Okay.
So about the afternoon.
So DeChambeau takes the lead with a birdie on 15.
Yeah.
Right? And it was like a 4-foot putt. 15 is a par 5. And you get a little fist pump, right? And then he's walking off the green, and we get the double fist in the air. He's really excited. And then he's getting the crowd going.
That's where he lost it?
Right? No, I believe it is. And then he's like, he walks up the hill, and he's like high-fiving everybody on the way to the 16th tee. And I'm like, buddy, I don't want to be like a hater here, but we play tomorrow. And you've only got a 1-shot lead. This ain't Sunday. Maybe just kind of dial it back a bit. What did he do? Bogeyed 16, doubled 17. He created so much adrenaline for himself that the things that were working for him, maybe this is completely circumstantial. I don't think so. He got himself so amped that with all of this time in front of him, he blew it right then. He went from 8 under to 5 under. Scotty blew past everybody. Like, Bryson, a 1-shot lead on Saturday is nothing. Chill out. And it's funny how the broadcaster's like, oh, man, he's such a man of the people. Okay, whatever. It was just too much too soon. Chill out, Bryson. I really thought that was when he gave it back. And I think he was very disappointed the way he finished, but I think he was sort of responsible for the way he finished. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Brendan Whitted, basketball brain on the Final Four of the NBA, and we'll also see how it sounded in D.C. on Thursday night or Friday morning. Next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Let's go! It's the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Aho now to Jarvis. Jarvis, go get the Giants.
Let's go, Canes!
The Chetkov stop. It's on the goal line behind him. He does a snow angel in the paint.
Go, Canes!
Playoff hockey in Raleigh is something that you can't describe, and it's because of you. So we want to be here.
The Canes' road to the Stanley Cup runs through us. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey, it's Tim here for All-Star Dog Training. We all know Ripken, the legend, right? The best trained dog in the Triangle. You see him at Bulls games. You see him at state games grabbing the tee. What you may not know is Michael from All-Star Dog Training, the man behind the dog, has won awards like the Voters' Choice Award for Best Pet Training Service 8 years in a row, PBS Emmy Award, hundreds of 5-star reviews. Michael, what else have you done to garner this attention?
We try to help every dog in the Triangle. That's our goal, and I know Ripken will want every dog to be an all-star just like him. So that's why we came out with All-Star Dog Training. All-Star Dog Training, it's a rebrand in honor of Ripken. What services do you offer? At our 5,000 square foot facility in Apex, we offer private lessons, day train programs, puppy classes, and even board and trains. But always remember, we'll come to you too. And it's the same training that not only helped Ripken be such a well-trained legend, but also his full-blooded brother, Champ, who's taken over? Champ will be there this season for the Durham Bulls. Same all-star team, new all-star name. Check them out at allstardogtraining.com.
It's Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I've got something important to talk to you about, your 401k. If you have changed jobs, there are two very important considerations. You don't want to leave your 401k behind, and you don't want to roll it over into your new company plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. 401ks will often have limited investments or age-based options. Since companies have to make choices to suit all employees, they may not be suited to you, which could cost you fees and money. When you roll over your 401k into an IRA, you not only keep your money growing tax deferred, but you also gain access to a world of investment options specifically designed for you. Trajan Wealth and our fiduciary advisors have helped thousands, and we can do the same for you. Call Trajan today, 919-200-4000, 919-200-4000.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text ALL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text ALL to 321-321. That's all to 321-321.
What? New scratch-offs are out? That means new chances to become a North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club member.
Yeah, in the Winners Club, I'll reinvent myself. I won't go by just plain Todd. I'll go by Toddrick. I'll get a gold jacket, play my saxophone again. I'll stop and smell the flowers, call my mom more.
Ugh, wrap it up, Todd.
It's Toddrick.
This month's scratch-offs pack over $100 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.35 to 4.58. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
This is Adam Gold.
He doesn't have many years to choose from.
No, and part of that was COVID. Nobody's picking COVID.
COVID was a great year.
Yeah.
Look, if you invested in Zoom,
oh, that was a good year. Yes.
You had a good year during COVID.
Yep.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Graham Hill on the ones and twos today. Final day for you in the DJ booth.
It's been a pleasure.
It has been. It absolutely has been. We'll be at Lenovo Center tomorrow for the Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers Game 1 Eastern Conference Finals. Second time in 3 years, these two teams will square off with the first two games here in Raleigh. Hopefully Carolina will at least win a game. You know, the little engine that could. Maybe it could get over the top of the hill. All right, but before we get to hockey, or maybe we'll start with hockey, our friend Brendan Whitted, basketball brain, who is based in D.C.
Don't leave me in like that. Don't leave me in like
it's fine.
that, my guy. Like, I mean, look. I'm from Southeast Raleigh. Like, I'm really from. I'm from this place, so it means a lot to me. It means a lot to me.
Good.
It's so much. I love it. I love it so much. Like, I'm really falling in love with this team. Like,
good. No. I think we're going to be fine. I'm just curious because I know you went to one of the games I think you went to game 1 in DC, right? Was it right?
I'm about to pull up in Raleigh if they stop playing with me. Like,
come down. So what was Friday like in DC? Was it quiet?
So first off, I loved it. So when it was one score away, it got weird.
Yep.
It got weird. I was like, oh, because I was getting weird. And
no way.
I was like, yo.
That's what it does.
And then when we hit that third joint, like, it was like, yeah.
Yeah. Right, when Jarvis hit the empty net goal. But that's like the difference between, these two sports are so vastly different. There's so much score. Basically, you score almost every time down the court in basketball, and it's the runs that really matter. There are no runs in hockey.
But I always felt like it was so close.
Yep.
I always felt like it was just like one play away here. I didn't understand it. Like, I was just like, bro, like, what is happening right now?
Yep.
Like, did we just score? Like, it was literally like that all the time.
Yeah, the Svechnikov goal with 1:59 left was out of nowhere. Like, wait a second, just took the lead.
What just happened? Like,
that was awesome. All right, let me get to hoops with you.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with the East real quick. So I know what Paul Pierce said. The Knicks beat a hobble team. Never mind that they were 3-1 ahead against the full health of the Celtics.
Paul Pierce is the best podcaster.
I know.
Honestly, he's a better podcaster than he is a basketball player.
Oh, really?
Saying something.
Okay, that's good.
No, it is certainly saying something.
All right, good.
Absolutely saying
have to
something.
Check that out. But he was fundamentally incorrect. Boston won a game without Jason Tatum. They were 1-3 with him. I'm not saying they were better with Tatum than without Tatum. Better without. But I mean, he was just completely wrong, and he was just being a hater, and that's fine. I like Indiana.
I like hater PG. I like hater PG.
Do you? Okay.
I do, because he was battling these guys. So you should have some hater in your blood.
Sure. Yeah.
He a hater.
Yeah, but he had hate for everybody. He had hate for Miami too, right? Yeah. The Celtics had a hard time getting past the Heat. So Indiana, which played so well, and Tyrese Halliburton played so well, and they've got other pieces. It's not just him with Siakam and Miles Turner. They've got a pretty good group. How do they match up with the Knicks?
The Pacers are like Nembhard really thinks he's a star. And I love watching him like he's the fourth guy.
Okay.
He's the fourth guy you did. Nesmith and Nembhard, they both think that they're like stars. It's super weird. But they're kind of right. They're kind of right. Halliburton, he's been so fantastic with distributing the ball. He hasn't been turning the ball over. It's the shot making. I remember watching him when they played the Celtics, and there were times when Drew Holiday would just stop him cold. He doesn't get stopped cold anymore.
Right.
He's going to take it to the hoop, or he's going to knock down a three. But that's different. He's made that graduation point.
Right.
And then you got Siakam, who, Lord have mercy, number 2 to 2 different championship winners. It's kind of giving me Scottie Pippen a little bit. It's kind of giving me Scottie. It's kind of giving me Scottie a little bit. He's so good at so many. He's a Swiss Army knife guy. right? Like he's so good at so many different things. Like he will take it off the dribble. He's a fan. He can guard 1 through 5. Like it's great. And like, by the way, guarding 1 through 5, Caruso. That boy bad. like that. And we also should probably have a conversation about like Jokic in terms of like, we're always talking about him being this top person, this like whatever it is, but like one chip, like all I'm saying is one chip, and we're having what conversation?
Well, it's because I think I want to get back to the Knicks and the Pacers real quick, but
sorry, I took
there's a lot of things, but I think the answer is that he posts numbers that Wilt Chamberlain posted, right? He's got all the categories, the points, the rebounds, and the assists, and he just dominates games, and he plays with a flair, even though he's just kind of it seems like a big oaf. But he plays
I just don't want to move the goalpost.
No, I get it.
I don't want to move.
I get it. No, he's not.
Goalpost.
He's not. Kareem or Shaq or guys like that. I mean, he's not.
That's how everybody's been talking about him. It's top five dead or alive. And I'm like, I mean,
no, probably not yet.
Yeah, like that's all I'm. That's legitimately all I'm saying.
Yeah, he's not Kareem. He's not Olajuwon, right? He's not one of those guys yet. But let him win a couple of more titles and keep posting these things, and then it's going to be inevitable that we have those conversations. All right, so are the Knicks more than Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, who needs a cut man? And
he tough as hell, man. I love Johnson. Yeah, I know you love. Like this is the Josh Hart appreciation.
Yeah,
like, Josh Hart appreciation.
I've always liked him. I don't care where he's been. I liked him with New Orleans.
I mean, I didn't
Lakers.
love him in Villanova because that's fine.
I get it.
Yeah, it's fine. A little salty.
I get it.
But OG Anunoby, like,
yep,
dog, like I know you're not a Knicks fan.
No, I'm a Knicks appreciator.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I'm a big OG fan because he just, I don't know, he seems to find his
the
way.
dynamite player.
Y'all have 2 all duct tape teams.
Yeah,
like all duct tape. Like, hey, it's going to be in my like junk drawer and also in NASA. Like, it's also both. It's both. It's both of those things. Like, okay, that's crazy, but like I'm gonna just have something on the spaceship. Cool. Like Josh Hart's one of those guys. Aaron Gordon is one of those guys. Like, I mean,
a junk drawer and NASA. Very few things are found in both places. Very few. But OG Anunoby and Josh Hart. Those types of
duct tape guys. Both duct tape guys. All duct tape.
No question.
Teams. Like,
all right.
100%.
So give me a pick there, because I want to ask you a couple of other hoops things before I let you go. Give me a pick there.
Indiana.
Yeah, that's
Indiana.
That's fair.
Like I think that like, so first off, we're getting 7 different champions for the last 7 seasons. So
oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, it's a whole vibe. It's a whole entire vibe. But man, like something about this Pacers team, bro. Like Halliburton, and I remember me and BG arguing about like who should be taken first, LaMelo or Halliburton. I said Halliburton. I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying.
You and me on the same team. I'm not a LaMelo Ball fan, but that's just me. I'm not.
That is very, very true. But like I want Ant and I want Halliburton.
Be a great. So do you like Minnesota against Oklahoma City?
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah, because something about Ant is there's a penthouse there.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not sure SGA has it. And which might be unfair, and maybe I can be wrong, but like I think Ant has like that next gear. I think he has that next gear. And I'm not 100% sure if SGA has it. But it's super cool for NAW and SGA to have this like
yes
Step Brothers thing. Like that's pretty cool. that's pretty cool that's happening right now in real time.
Let me ask you real quick about that, because I also like Minnesota in that series. It's kind of funny because as a Knicks appreciator, I never thought Julius Randle was the guy that could get you to where you wanted to be.
Y'all treated him so bad. Like,
I didn't treat him anyway. But the thing about him that maybe playing with Anthony Edwards and with a defender like Rudy Gobert is that it's the perfect spot.
Being a secondary initiator is perfect for him.
Yes.
It's perfect. And so him being the number one guy wasn't cool in New York. It wasn't cool. But, like, the secondary guy, like, I love Cat. I really do.
I don't, Cat. But that's fun. I don't. I've never. The only guy, there's 4 guys in that team I really like. Right? I like Brunson. I like Hart.
That's the second time you made me snort. That's the second time.
Anunoby, and I like Mitchell Robinson. That's basically it of the guys that Thibodeau plays.
So I love Cat because he's got like. So we do a thing where it's like, the tallest, like, best hooper,
right?
Kevin Durant. We just exit him out. We just exit him out all the time,
right?
And that's fine. But, like, Cat is like, he just got it. Like, he got a feathery touch from the outside. Like, he's just
good shooter.
He's not strong. That's the problem. That's the problem with Cat. You too big to not be that strong.
He's
like,
doughy.
You too big to not he's not, like, bro. You gotta, like, come on, bro. Like, you gotta just. Sometimes just like throw a shoulder into somebody and let you know that I'm there. Like I'm cool, bro. Like
he's too willing to hang out there. All right, let me ask you this: as a Hornets fan, but also somebody who is in DC, the Wizards got hosed. They picked 6th. Hornets picked 4th. Who's the right guy in this draft for the Hornets, knowing that 1, 2, 3 is going to be Flag, and then likely Harper, Harper and Bailey, who both went to Rutgers.
I never know how to say his name. Knipple?
Con Knipple, you like him?
Yeah.
For the Hornets.
Because, like, we need a secondary scorer, and we don't have one. Like, and it's different. Like, whenever LaMelo is just. I know you're not a LaMelo fan. Okay, fair.
I'm not.
Fair.
No, I'm not a LaMelo. I don't think the Hornets will ever win.
When Cooper Flag went out, Knipple, like, really stepped up. Like, he really, like, and I saw his playmaking ability.
Yep.
And so, like, I want that beside, like, we were the worst offense in the league last year.
Yeah.
We were terrible. I want like a shooter and a playmaker and like a go-getter. Like, I understand everyone's saying VJ Edgecombe. Like, I get it.
Great player.
I get it. But, like, no, I want a baller. I want somebody can hoop. I want a hooper.
Okay. I think Edgecombe is a good player too.
Edgecombe is a fantastic player, but what we need, we need somebody that's going to uplift the offense, and that's what we don't have right now.
Yeah, I mean, Knipple has like in his brain, he gets the game really well.
Yeah,
makes others around him better. I think the mock drafts have him going like 8th. I think to Brooklyn, I think he's going to be a dynamite player. And who will the Wizards end up with?
I think Edgecombe falls a little. Like, I was about to say, I think Edgecombe falls a little bit, like, because he's good. Like, he's a great athlete. I'm not sure what that translates to. Like, I'm not super sure, but, like, I was wrong about Jaylen Brown too. So, like, I will say that, like, I was wrong about Jaylen Brown too.
ACC legend Jaylen Brown.
Sure. Like, I thought he was a great athlete at Cal, and I was like, I'm not super sure. So maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. Like, some of the more recent things that I'm reading, no.
All right. Brendan Whitted at HU Cosell on Twitter, basketball brain, my friend. If you're coming down, man, we'll hook.
Say less. Like, say less to me. Say less to me right now, Cole.
All right. That's fine. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
All right, man. Right. Take care.
All right.
Brendan Whitted here on the Adam Gold Show. Was he taunting me? What was that? I think he was taunting me.
I just love how you threw Jaylen Brown in there as ACC legend. I mean, if the shoe fits, right?
Find the lie.
No, yeah.
Where did he go to school?
You're exactly right. He went to Cal.
Thank you.
You know it. You tell the story. You tell the whole damn world this is Bear territory.
All right. When we come back, we'll rewind. We'll talk a little bit. I've by the way, purposely not given my prediction for this series. I will save that for tomorrow when we do a prediction for Canes, Florida. Okay? I've purposely not given my thoughts on the upcoming series. We'll do that tomorrow. I do think Carolina will win a game in this series. We'll leave it at that. But we'll talk a little bit about the series, what makes Florida so good, what makes Carolina better than people think and not boring. And we'll rewind next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, down to the Final Four in the NBA. Can Indiana break through? Unlike last year. Can Minnesota break through? Unlike last year. Only one place to enhance your NBA conference final viewing. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers, $200 to you in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place your first $5 wager. Doesn't even matter if you win it. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. Join today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Bluebell Groom's Cake Ice Cream is renewing its vows on the frozen aisle. Milk chocolate ice cream with chocolate cake pieces, chocolate-coated strawberry hearts, swirls of strawberry sauce, and chocolate icing. See you at the reception.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Have you ever heard of paramedics who don't just respond to emergencies, but work to prevent them? The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. Cape Fear Valley Health's community paramedic program is a groundbreaking initiative where paramedics aren't just transporting patients, they're building bridges to better care, right from the patient's living room. Here's Cape Fear's Alinda Bailey.
We're not just asking, what's your medical emergency? We're asking, do you have problems obtaining your medicines? Can you get to your appointments? Are you safe? Are you supported? We try to identify not only the medical needs, the mental health needs, but also the social determinants that play a factor in the care of our patients and clients.
Join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Imagine a school where you could study AI and ancient Egypt, become a National Honor Student, join a cooking club, or code the next big video game, and do it all in a comfortable space. Your own home. Welcome to NC Cyber Academy, a K-12 tuition-free virtual charter school that provides you with a flexible, personalized education designed to prepare you for college and a career. Visit myncca.com and discover a learning experience that works for you, your family, and your future.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, you're more than a policy, you're family. With offices in every county, we're close by when it matters most. Our local agents customize coverage to fit your life.
And our award-winning claims team delivers fast, quality repairs. It's no surprise Forbes ranked us the #1 auto insurer in America. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Gold.
Because if interrupting is part of the talent, then she wins.
Giving an RBF face? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, everybody saw it.
I didn't say it. I
that picture
did not say that.
When they were asking Bill and she interrupts him and they look at her, that's evil. Like,
yeah. Okay.
I was waiting for the lights to come out of her pupils.
You're not wrong.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Graham Hill is here. Been a nice run for a week with Victoria off at a rock music festival. Of course, she had to go to Florida for that.
I don't think the Allman Brothers performed.
Maybe not. And Tom Petty is no longer signing, so Tom Petty, who's from Gainesville, Florida, by the way. But she'll be back tomorrow. All right, and it'll coincide with Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, Hurricanes and Panthers. Great little factoid about the Hurricanes having eliminated the Washington Capitals. So when they eliminate the Capitals, they eliminate the all-time leading NHL goal scorer. The last team to do that was the 1997 Philadelphia Flyers, who beat the Rangers, Wayne Gretzky's final team.
Yep.
In the second round of the playoffs. In the conference finals. I think they played in the conference finals that year. So the Flyers eliminate the Rangers. Gretzky was the NHL's all-time goal-scoring leader at the time. Do you know who was on that Philadelphia Flyers team? Ron Brindamore. It's very cute. What an adorable factoid. All right, real quick about the Panthers, who play in a lot of ways, and I know there are probably subtle differences that I can't detect. I know the bigger picture is that Florida is a much more rough and physical, mean team than Carolina. And Carolina's going to have to be aware of that.
Sam Bennett's the boogeyman, like some people like to say.
But it's Bennett, it's Tkachuk. It's not just them, it's other players too. It's Aaron Ekblad on the back end, who's already been suspended once during these playoffs. So, Florida's got a few players like that. There's also former Hurricane Eetu Luostarinen, who has been excellent for Paul Maurice's team. That third line with Lundell, Luostarinen, and Brad Marchand has been awesome. Honestly, I think it's Lundell and Marchand have led them in scoring in the playoffs. They're not even getting great performances from their big stars. Sam Bennett's got 6 goals now in the playoffs. Matthew Tkachuk didn't score in the past series. I think Tkachuk has 1 goal in the playoffs. I think
you're right. He hasn't been 100% healthy either in this playoff.
He got hurt in 4 Nations, and then stopped playing. Didn't play the rest of the regular season. He doesn't appear to be all the way back, but he's playing, and he's giving them a physical presence, even if he is not scoring goals. Sasha Barkov, who has been somewhat quiet in this past series, I'm sure will have his impact felt against the Hurricanes. But I do think when I was watching them early, and I understand the last couple of games might have changed that for people, here's where I think the Hurricanes might be able to bother Florida. But I also think it goes both ways. I think Carolina could be bothered the same way. I think once you get past Ekblad and Forsling, I think Florida's defense is vulnerable. Now, we watched Seth Jones yesterday look awesome. I'm not sure Florida made it difficult on Jones. I thought earlier in the series, first couple of games in the series, where Toronto won the 2 games in Toronto, I thought they made life difficult for Seth Jones. He didn't look like the same player who got himself a $9.5 million contract a few years ago. Sergei Bobrovsky also wasn't great in the first 2 games in Toronto. Wasn't really that good at all. But he has been everything since then. Goaltending is not the area where you go, yeah, Florida might be susceptible there. Nope. Sergei Bobrovsky is as good as there is. Freddie, by the way, is playing better than everybody right now, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Hurricanes have an advantage in goal, because they don't. I'd love to see that be a wash, Anderson versus Bobrovsky. I think it would be awesome if that was the case. I don't know if it will or not. But I think Carolina's forecheck can bother Kulikov, Mikkola, trying to think of the other. Their top 2, Jones as well, I think they can impact in a negative way Florida's blue line. Other than their top 2, I think they are vulnerable. But Carolina's going to have to play that way. The way they played against Washington, relentlessly keeping the puck in their end. Toronto did it for about 10 minutes yesterday. But if you watch the game, Florida lived in the Toronto zone. Lived there for basically 3/4 of the first 40 minutes. Other than the last 10 minutes of the first period, which Toronto could have scored, I would argue Toronto had the better scoring chances the last half of the first period, to the point where I thought, oh, Toronto's going to do this, aren't they? And then they didn't. Florida came back to start the second period and just absolutely kicked Toronto's teeth in. By the way, did you see the referee who got sticked above the eye?
Yeah.
Yeah, they said he was fine, that it didn't hit him in the eye, it hit above the eye, but he needed a bunch of stitches. That was a scary. You could see the blood pouring.
And on the wall, too.
Yeah, because he put his hand over his face and braced it against the wall.
Yeah.
Blood was immediate.
I can't remember whose stick it was. It might not even matter. They weren't even aware.
Mikkola.
He wasn't even aware that it happened. He had to, the reporter in between the benches was the one that.
Yeah, Brian Boucher asked him about it.
Yeah. And he was like, I didn't even know it was me.
Yeah. It was that was a scary scene. You were just hoping that it wasn't the eye, right? Didn't get him in the eye, because obviously those are career-altering situations. But I do think that's an area where Carolina can impact the game. I do think the same thing, though, about Florida. If Florida's forecheck gets to Carolina, that's an area where Carolina can be a little vulnerable as well. If that's a wash, Florida's got more sure things among their scorers because of Sam Reinhart, Carter Verhaeghe. These guys are used to being big producers. Verhaeghe has more overtime game-winning goals in the playoffs than anybody else playing right now. I think it's 5, 6 playoff overtime goals. He's a machine in overtime. Challenging series for both teams. Carolina needs to get off to a good start. If they get off to a good start, I think they'll be okay. All right, let's get to a rewind. And we'll get Erik Cole's thoughts on this. The differences between Florida and Carolina, who play similar styles.
It's not. I think, if anything, Florida can sometimes play a little heavier than the Hurricanes. But in the Washington series, Carolina, played a little heavy when they had to, and there was some really momentum, physical plays that went on. With Ovechkin getting hit and Wilson getting hit.
Yeah.
It was great to see, from the Hurricanes standpoint, but they both forecheck really hard. I think that if there's one thing that Carolina does better than Florida would be their back pressure and just kind of the relentless puck pursuit. Not just up the ice, but on the way back as well. I feel like, Carolina probably creates more from those types of turnovers. The power plays are, I think, pretty even here in the playoffs. Obviously, Carolina's penalty kill's been good all year and has been, good during the playoffs, and that's going to have to continue.
Right.
That's going to be really, really big element to this series, especially with the firepower that Florida has on a couple of those units. Where there's guys. Reinhardt scored over 50 last year, or right on 50 or something like that.
Yeah,
so
almost 60, I think. Right.
Yeah, they've got some dangerous players out there, but and then of course it's always who gets better goaltending, and you look at the conference final 2 years ago, and just how heartbreaking that was.
Yeah.
With the overtime losses and everything. It's a very, very small margin of error, and I think it's going to be a heck of a series.
I agree with Erik Cole. I think it's going to be a great series, and it is going to be just a little, a play here or there is going to decide every game, every single game. And I think this will be a closer series even than those 4 one-goal games were back in 2023. I said it at the time. I said it earlier today. Florida was better than Carolina. Was that a series that should have been a sweep? No, of course not. But Florida was the better team, and they were the better team, I thought, in each game. Not by a lot, but I just thought they were a little bit better in each game, even though the shot numbers will tell you otherwise. Carolina will have to be a little bit better when they have their opportunities. If you don't take your chances to score, that's really on you. That's what it boils down to. Yes, did Sergei Bobrovsky have a great series? Sure. Guess who else did? Frederik Andersen and Antti Raanta, who played Game 2 after the 4 overtime game in Game 1. Raanta came back 2 days later and played really well. Gave up, 3 goals. Gave up an overtime goal. It was 2-2 after regulation. Dave Pagnotta from the 4th period, who not only do they cover the games themselves, but they also follow the transactions, the trades, the free agents. I asked Dave Pagnotta, would Mitch Marner, who is a unrestricted free agent for Toronto, would he be interested in here? It's okay to say no, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know that answer definitively. I was going to preface it by, we all know about the Mikko Rantanen situation and the offer there. And I think at the time, when Mitch said no to waiving his no movement clause, that would have applied to any team, not exclusively to Carolina. If there was another deal with whomever, LA, St. Louis, Philly, whatever, I think the answer would have been the same. He didn't want to move anywhere. He wanted to just focus on the rest of the season, try to win it with the Leafs, and then figure out his future from that point on. So from that perspective, I don't think it was a no to Carolina. I think it was just a no to the idea of it happening anywhere. That being said, I think we all know how good the Hurricanes are, and Mitch certainly wants an opportunity to take those next steps in terms of winning. He is going to have the pick of the litter if he hits the open market July 1. He will have teams like San Jose and Chicago very interested in him. He'll have teams like LA and Pittsburgh and possibly Carolina and Calgary and Philly and a bunch of others. He's going to have the pick of the litter. I think it's going to be a combo for him on where he wants to go. Opportunity to win consistently plus dollars, living conditions, all of that fun stuff. I think he would consider it. I just don't know how high up the totem pole they would be for them, for him and his family, I mean.
Yeah, so the Rantanen thing was really more about life than it was about hockey, and that's fair. I hold no grudge because Rantanen didn't control at that point where he was going. He gained some control when Carolina presented him, all right, where would you like to go? And we can work something out there. And it ended up being Dallas. And it does feel, Graham, wouldn't you agree? It does feel like, yeah, it's the collision course, right? Doesn't it feel that way?
The script writers are certainly making it. I'm kidding.
It kind of feels collision course to me. But with that aside, I'm sure Marner wants to win. He's already spent time in one of the most cosmopolitan cities on earth, in Toronto. And they won to a point. Well, the Hurricanes are more advanced in all of those winning areas than who were the other teams that were mentioned? San Jose? They're a long way away from winning. Chicago? I know they've got Connor Bedard, but they're a long way from winning. If winning is really important, the other stuff can be worked out. I'm not saying this is the perfect place for him, but I think it should be a real consideration for Mitch. And now it brings me back to a point where if I'm the Hurricanes, is somebody like Mitch Marner that doesn't play any differently, really, than the rest of your team. If I had to paint a broad picture of the garden variety Carolina top six forward, we would say not necessarily a great goal scorer, more of a setup guy, great defensively. I just described Mitch Marner. Do they need another one of those? So, is that the best way to spend $13 million a year? Just something to think about as we head into the offseason. Graham, it's been fun. It has been. Not only today, but yesterday and the other days as well. See everybody tomorrow.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina